like Dags. You like Dags? Oh, you mean dogs.
Welcome to the Bearded Banker Podcast that is brought to you by Alcova Mortgage and the Alcova Can-Do Pre-Approval. A pre-approval that guarantees your loan or pays the buyer and the seller of a property if your mortgage pre-approval falls through. Call us at 330-758-7542 to learn more. Alcova Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID number 40508. Michael Swigert, NMLS ID number 1240868. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to credit approval. Now sit back, scroll through Instagram, keep overstimulating yourself, and enjoy your host, Michael Swigert.
There. I can see the camera. In the camera. See me.
I can't.
Okay.
No, it's good. It's plenty big.
Wide.
Fat.
Wide angle.
It actually zooms in. Yeah, it does zoom in. I don't know how to fix that, but
Okay, well, let's go.
And here we go.
Diving right in. So that talk was good with Jed and Brock. Do we talk about that or no?
And I mean, we will in a second.
Okay.
But we always talk about something funny that's off the wall beforehand.
There's nothing.
There's a little something.
What?
Well, I mean, you had practice last night.
Yeah, it was sword fighting. I didn't have any armor yet. So I'm getting my standard armor Sunday.
You ever think you would say that sentence as a 35-year-old man?
Yeah.
Are you 35?
I think so.
Yeah.
Born in
'Cause
89?
I'm 34, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You're born in 90?
Yeah.
Wow.
90s kid.
Yeah, wow.
Sucks to be you.
I guess. I'm old.
Oh, thanks, George Bush. Or Herbert Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, my mom has the paper from when I was born, and I think it was like when they invaded
Poland?
No. I think it was Kuwait. I don't know, but it's like this big, like tragic, like, you know, like George, but not whatever. But yeah, that was it's Herbert Walker. So we'll record next week because you're gonna get your armor and then you'll start fighting again. So that'll be document the journey. We talked about that.
Yeah.
But no, so stay for later in the episode. So we had Brock and Jed. I should probably say Jed and Brock. I mean, why did I say Brock and Jed?
Hartzler brothers.
The Hartzler brothers.
Yeah, we had the Hartzler brothers.
Yeah, but you have to be careful with that because where we live, there's 86,000 Hartzlers.
Yeah, and counting.
And counting, yeah, like they're multiplying, right? Like
yeah.
Jed's got 3 kids, right? Is that what we said? 3,
yeah.
4, 2. Brock's got 2. Yeah. No, that was a good interview. And I honestly, so that one's a little bit longer, went about an hour and a half. And I wish we had more time. So
yeah,
we're going to part 2 them, I think. We're going to have them
Absolutely.
back probably the first of the year. Yeah, they're just a lot of fun. And what's wild is we talk about it. Brock and I were super close, like in high school, and I don't know when the last time I saw him was. It was I was like, man, why are you so tall? Like I don't remember him being so tall, but yeah, it's good to catch up. It was almost like we just picked up right where we left off. And
friends can do that. You know, the old saying with friends, like, doesn't matter time, distance.
Yeah,
Jed's
my friend. I don't know if we would call Brock my friend.
Poor Brock. You guys picked on Brock so much.
He picks on himself.
Well, that's good.
First of all, you can't be that nice, that beautiful, that tall. His skin is perfect.
That's successful.
I hate him.
Yeah,
I just hate him.
Wow.
I love him so much. Though, but, so that's a cool interview. And what we tried to do is get a insight on investing into real estate, how they got started. And give a little bit of insight how they run their business. And literally, I mean, they started from they had no investment properties.
Yeah.
They
were once again an example of what, like you said, choose your hard, and they made the right choice.
Yeah.
And now they are reaping the rewards from that.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it's amazing what they've done so far in just a short period of time. I mean, Brock has definitely had, you'll hear people. Yeah. He has a mind for that kind of thing. Jed has the hands-on.
I'm a little nervous. I haven't edited the interview yet. He shimmied down a little bit.
Brock.
I think I might only have half of his face in the video. Because at the end of it, I was like, Brock, you're a little further down than where I had you sitting. So, which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, you trust us, people. That the other half, it's there.
You're what? Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, so what do we want to talk a little bit about today? We're not going to take up too much time, but we want to talk about, because we've had a lot of people asking us, we see some trending topics about paying your mortgage off early or how to pay your mortgage off sooner. And one question we always get as loan officers is, hey, what about a 15-year mortgage? I think I want to do a 15-year mortgage. And I'm here to tell you, well, for the past, I don't know, as long as I've been a loan officer, that's not true. There was times in 2016, 2015, where 15 years, even 2017, 15 years had a little bit better of a pricing incentive. But I'm here to tell you, don't do that.
Yeah, not anymore.
No, not right now in this market. Maybe in the future, there is a little bit of incentive. But if you understand how interest works and how it's calculated against the principal and how paying a little bit extra on the principal and what it does, I think that's when I always show clients like, hey, like here's what we do. Here's a 15-year payment. What if we made this 15-year payment on a 30-year? You can always fall back on that. And Jed and I talked a little bit about that, how like he likes the 30-year just for budgeting, but how you can pay it off early and how principal works. Because we've always heard make one extra payment a year.
Right.
And you pay it off. I think it's 7 years.
Yeah, 6-7 years sooner. Yeah. But again, this is the interesting thing. Like anymore, and we've talked about this, people know this, the American dream, getting a 30-year mortgage, paying it off after the 30 years, burning the mortgage, having that whole party, that doesn't exist anymore. You're either moving or refinancing within that, within what, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, so the average life, and it's skewed now because we had the refi boom, but it used to be the average life of a mortgage was 7 years. Now it's like down to 5.
Yeah.
And it's not because people are like, wow, you're moving all the time. Well, no, if you have a great relationship with your loan officer, like a trusted advisor, they're educating you on, why you may want to refinance. Or think of it this way. Here's a perfect example, right? You buy your first house and you use an FHA loan and you do the 3.5% down and you fix it up, right? You create some equity. And then the way to pay for that, the renovations, maybe put them on 0% interest credit cards. That's what I did with my first house. And then you create that equity. And then after a year or 2 years, you cash out and you use that equity you created.
Right.
And then you pay off those credit cards. And, oh, by the way, you can possibly get rid of that PMI that is inside of your initial mortgage, right?
Yeah.
So then after 2 years, there's that mortgage that only lasted 2 years, right? Now you're cashing out, you're consolidating debt, you're paying off high interest debt, whatever. And now you're actually putting yourself in a better financial place with your mortgage because you're not paying any PMI. Then after 2 years, the market changes and rates go down. And then all of a sudden you're doing a rate and term refinance, right? And everybody always thinks that you're sticking it, like I'm going to go back out to 30 years. We can show you can actually pick your term, right? So you can come in and say, like, you know what, I want to do a 26-year term. Okay, all right.
Well, this is something we always said to, or not, always there's an exception, but 95% of the time, what I would recommend is still getting that 30-year mortgage, but then telling you what the payoff schedule would be for a 10, 15, 20, 25 years, so you can make those payments. Make sure it's directly to that. You can speak more on this. Make sure it's applied directly to the principal, and then you can still pay that. Something happens, medical, death, get laid off, you could still fall back on that. Yeah.
Obviously get laid. Wow. Okay. Laid off. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you. Yeah. But you still have that minimum payment to fall back on. But so that's what people, I think they think, that we have to pay that 15-year payment. That's, no, I think that's a mistake.
Yeah. So the first thing that you have to understand is, so let's start with step number 1. We have to understand the way that interest works. The way that interest is calculated every single day against the principal. So first, there's 2 things that make up your mortgage payment, right? There's the principal and then there's the interest, right? Principal is how much you're borrowing, right? So if it's $100,000 mortgage, that's your principal, $100,000. Your interest is your APR, your APY, whatever you guys want to call it. Your interest rate, let's just call it your interest rate.
Right.
And that is, let's just say 6%, okay? What you have to understand is that $100,000 of your principal that you borrowed is calculated, how much interest you're paying, that's 6%, is your annual percentage rate. So 6% of $100,000 is $65,000. No, $6,000, right? So what that means is that in that mortgage, in this scenario, you're paying $6,000 in interest over the course of a year. So you divide that out by 12, and now you're looking at how much your monthly interest is. But here's the thing that people don't remember. you're paying a little bit of principal each and every month. So if you're paying a little bit of principal each and every month, so let's say 100,000, the first month you pay down 1,000. That's not what you do, but let's say you do. Then all of a sudden, 6% for the next month is multiplied against $99,000. You following my math here? Okay. So when people say, well, I'm just going to make an extra mortgage payment once a year, that's great. I'm not discouraging that. My best advice is, instead of doing that, if interest is charged daily, there's a per diem, so that interest rate is charged daily against that principal, why not make an extra $100 a month principal only payment and watch what that does? So I actually have a calculator. So I did a little like a whiteboard video or whatever.
Well, I was just thinking that you need to have a whiteboard right in the middle here that you can write on. I mean, it's not there right now.
Where's the intern at?
But
so yeah, still not there. One day. No, so I did a whiteboard video where it was on a piece of paper though, and I showed like this one scenario where they did a cash out refinance and they were paying, I forget the numbers. Their mortgage payment was $1,500, but they're paying $3,000 a month on all their debts, right? And I took that and I did a cash out refinance. Their new mortgage payment's $2,100. Yes, their mortgage went up, but they're consolidating all this debt. If they continued paying what they were paying, that new mortgage, they would actually pay it off in 11 years. Because when you're attacking the principal every single month, that interest can't be calculated against something that doesn't exist anymore. So when everybody always complains that a mortgage is front loaded with interest, yes, because of the way simple math is, because you just borrowed $100,000. So that multiplier, that interest rate, is going to get charged against that $100,000. But if I can tackle that principal quicker, then the amount of that 6% goes down. The amount of interest we pay goes down because it can't multiply against 100,000 again. It's multiplying at what your remaining principal is. So I always recommend that if you can, the best thing to do, yes, making that one extra mortgage payment a year works. It doesn't. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying the best thing you could do is do $100 extra per month, $150 extra per month. And I could show you what your payment would be at on a 15-year mortgage. Pay that every single month. And then if something happens, like we talked about in the podcast, like you just said, you can always fall back on that smaller payment.
Right.
And it takes discipline to do that. And I think that's why, like when you hear people like Dave Ramsey, where they say, oh, only do a 15-year mortgage. Don't get me started on Dave. Right. But what if something happens and then all of a sudden you have to choose between making your mortgage payment or making your car payment or, like buying groceries? Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, you get laid off. Life happens. I understand that Dave says like you have to have an emergency fund and a savings fund and then this fund and this fund and this fund and this fund and this envelope, that envelope, this envelope, that envelope, right? But like that's not the real life. So getting that 30-year, being able to fall back on that and still making that 15-year payment. So yes, it's going to take discipline. It's going to take a little bit but also maybe you don't have to make that payment. Yeah. And you're still saving interest over the life of a substantial, people will like literally, you would crap your pants if you saw how much interest you saved just by doing that.
And that's like kind of the obstacle, I think, for a lot of people, because you either have the people who think they're like financially savvy and things like that. And they may be Dave Ramsey followers or Dave Ramsey-esque, where they do that. They count, the nickels and dimes and pennies. They want to know where everything goes. And then you have the people that just want to get in the house, really. And they're maybe first-time home buyers or haven't bought a home in a while, and they're already overwhelmed. So it's like you have to choose, if that's a point of concern of theirs, then to address that, like you just did with that calculator. But I want to say a lot of the people that I help just want to get in the house.
And you can get in the house, but you can always still see and you could start that principal payments at any time. You could start that month 6. You could start it. You're 10 years into your mortgage. You guys want to pay that off? All right, you can start that now. Right. So it's a great strategy. It's simple. Every single mortgage. Well, any mortgage you get from Alcova Mortgage, from ourselves. So do it. Bingo.
You see my face?
Bingo. Wow, you're waiting 18 minutes in.
Well, you should have said something.
Your face? No, I hit your face on purpose. Like, you're welcome.
Okay.
So what was I even saying? Oh, any mortgage that you get from us, there's no early payment penalty. You're not penalized for doing this. You can literally pay your mortgage off. I want you to pay your mortgage off, right? Come get another one when you're done. No, but I want you to we're here to help you achieve your financial goals, and that's always one. But that's the easiest way to pay off your mortgage. And there's no rocket science. Like I remember when TikTok, everybody's doing these lives and they're like, hey, you should get a home equity line of credit and watch how you do that. And you can pay your mortgage off sooner. Like It's not rocket science at all.
Right.
It's super simple. Your principal against your interest. The quicker you can lower your principal, the less interest that's charged. That simple.
Yeah. TikTok, like any social media thing where these experts go on, they do those quick 30-second videos. It's been the bane of our existence.
Well, now I can go live on TikTok, so I'm going to start doing that. That's going to be
Please.
fun. Yeah,
Like-
just an hour long.
Yeah, just
No, like 24-hour live session. Could you imagine just me in here? Can you imagine?
Well, I spend 22 hours a day with you, so it'd be not much different. Oh,
I don't think I approved of that. What are you talking about? Which hours are you with me, Aaron? I need to know the answer.
I would watch a family as they eat dinner, dude. No, Theo Von, you didn't see that one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cut that out.
Okay, no, we'll leave that. It's all right. Yeah. So let's go on to the next segment. I mean, that's enough. It's not rocket science.
We don't need to go on for it. We can have some testimonials. Talk about it later. Talk about more in the next section with Jed and Brock.
Yeah.
And how they tackle that. Buying down or paying off the.
I mean, so like he says, like on your print or on their commercial properties, like on their business, they don't do that because there's a tax incentive not to do that. Literally, like it's so funny when investors come to me and they're looking at the best interest. Like, oh, I'm looking for the lowest interest rate. I'm like, well, you should probably talk to your accountant because I'm not a CPA, but mortgage interest is 100% tax deductible.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of want to pay some interest, right? Whatever. That's neither here nor there. We're not CPA. We'll get a CPA on this podcast, and you guys will fall asleep. Technically, Brock was here, so
He is a CPA.
and he is boring. No, I'm just kidding.
My God.
No, he's a good time. So,
All right, new segment.
New segment brought to you by Shears and Beards. I'm gonna plug the barber. Hey, I'll be honest with you, okay? So we got a little bit of a reach, and this is something that we didn't even announce yet, and we're going to. So congratulations to us. We officially have 10,000 listens across all platforms. 10,000 listens, downloads. 9,000 of them are my mother, but that's okay. 10,000 since we restarted the podcast on the first of this year. So
Yeah, wow.
10,000 listens, and so I will say, get a lot of people ask where do we get cleaned up at? You're looking a little scruffy. We'll get you there.
Well, I haven't been to him in a while.
You haven't been to Jake in a while.
Yeah, I
so,
know.
Yeah, but we actually a lot of people. So I think I was just talking with Jake yesterday. He's like, you know how many people like come in here and like they say like you sent them, and I'm like, I literally they asked me, I guess, where I go and get my haircut. I guess I don't know or see. So Shears and Beards are moving to Medina. Go to shearsandbeards.com. You can book with Jake and Jeff. This is the best part about the barbershop is that you can book online.
Yes.
Do you book online?
Oh, all the time.
Okay, you didn't used to. You used to call in like a barbarian.
Well, again, I'm a Neanderthal. That's how you used to do it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how I was raised. But I was quickly evolved.
Yeah, so it's nice because you like wake up in the morning, you're like, God, it looks awful.
Yeah.
You can book online.
Yep.
So they're moving. The new location's going to be in Medina. I think they're moving the end of November, I think, or maybe the first of the year. I have no idea. But follow them on Facebook. Give them a plug. But this segment we did last week, not on the podcast. We just released it, but we're going to start doing this. So
yeah.
So this time, so last week we did top 5 sales movies. You got to rank them 1 through 5, but you don't know the next one that's coming, right?
Right.
So you did. So we'll throw that in here.
Yeah, a little clip. But no, I do like the concept of ranking without knowing what comes next.
Yeah.
But now this week it's your turn.
So we're gonna try to keep them. I mean, we can start going down rabbit holes eventually, but we were trying to keep it like something in our sales movie. We're a little sales,
Yeah,
right? So all right, so let's go.
But no, you travel a lot.
I travel.
You travel a lot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get there. We're getting there. But no, in your travels, you go to quite a few cities.
Yeah.
So I thought, what would be, ranking the top 5 cities without knowing the next one.
All right, so I did tell you all the cities I went to.
Yes.
So we went through that yesterday. So just preface that
So
I've been to every single one of these cities.
Yeah, but this is kind of cheating because I didn't know my movies, but you now may get, you know what the topic is.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Well, you knew the topic of the sales movie. You just didn't know which ones I was going to give you.
Right.
So technically, I'm not a world traveler. I've been out of the country twice, I think. 3 times.
Johnny Cash, you've been
But
everywhere,
I've
right?
been to tons of cities. We're licensed in, we used to be licensed like 22 states. So I travel quite a bit in the United States. So
All right,
I don't know what's coming. Let's go.
Okay.
1 through 5. 1 through 5.
We'll put
Hit me
up
with
on the
it.
screen.
Hit me with
Okay.
it.
First one. 1 through 5, rank it. Miami.
5. Miami's garbage. I hate Miami.
Okay.
Miami's awful.
I put, okay, when you gave me your list, I knew that was going to be one because I have not. That's not the first time I've heard that.
I hate Miami. Yeah, no, Miami's awful.
Do you think people that live in Miami hate Miami?
I think so.
Really? Because I think people that live in Miami love it, and all the visitors hate it.
No, I think people in Miami hate Miami. So I don't mind Fort Lauderdale, which I still think is Miami. It's kind of wild. Like Fort Lauderdale and Miami have two huge airports, and they're like right beside each other.
Yeah.
I hate Miami. It's too compact. The people are jerks. It's not. I mean, I am a huge Cuban. Okay, Cuban food is my favorite type of food.
I like a good Cuban sandwich.
Okay, yeah, but like actually Cuban food. Like, so I love Cuban coffee. I love Cuban everything. Right.
Okay.
Love it. I want to go. I want the 1950s like attire. Right. Like go to Cuba. Like the James Bond movie when he's there. Like he's like mojito. Okay. You remember that? Yeah. You remember that? Yeah. And Halle Berry's in it.
Oh, she's Cuban.
No, she's from Cleveland. No, it's just awful, and it's hard to navigate. There's too many people. There's always under construction. South Beach is disgusting. Like it's just not great. I hate Miami. I literally that might be the number one city that I hate in the United States.
Also, I'm glad.
Well, that's not true.
So that was easy. That was an easy 5.
I hate Pittsburgh.
Oh,
well, the Steelers.
Okay, good.
All right, good.
All right, Chicago.
Ooh. I'm gonna go 3. I like Chicago. I do like Chicago.
Not mid round.
Yeah, just 3 because like if I'm going like all right. Oh man, it'd be good to like rank the cities based on when you're gonna go to or if you're going to a conference. But Chicago's nice because it's got everything. The food's good. There's a lot of stuff to do. I like the aquarium. I like Navy Pier. Navy Pier is awesome. Millennium Park is awesome. Millennium Park, and the shopping is cool. But it's a little sketchy once you leave downtown, right?
I mean, it's okay, any city.
Yeah, any city. Yeah, Chicago is a little tougher, but I do like a lot
of downtown in Chicago.
I do like a Chicago dog. I went to Wrigley, didn't go to a game, just drove around Wrigley. Yeah, Chicago's it's a cool city.
Okay,
it's
good.
You know what? They're like really chill there too. So I remember going there when I was like 21, and I'm like was like so paranoid. I'm like, look like we've been here, look like we're from here, and everybody was like so helpful. So it's like we're like the end of the Midwest. I feel like in Cleveland. Okay. And like they just get nicer the further west you go. So I like Chicago.
That's good. So we got 1, 2, and 4 spots left.
Okay.
All right. This is gonna be easy. Well, it might be. We'll see. Las Vegas.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? Man, I love Las Vegas. I hate Las Vegas. It's such a bizarre city because on the way there, every time you're on a flight to Vegas, everybody's in such good mood. And on the way back, everybody just hates their life. There's no in between. Vegas has gotten expensive. If you would have asked me this question 4 years ago, I would have probably had Vegas at 1 or 2. Okay. But now, oh man, I do like Vegas. It's just so expensive. It's a good city to go to conferences. That's actually the only reason I go to Vegas now. I think I go 3 times a year just for conferences. Yeah. I'm gonna put Vegas at 4.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, wow. It would have been 2 or maybe 1 4 years ago.
Yeah, now you're saving the 1 and 2 spot.
I'm saving 1 and 2.
Okay.
Because I feel like I know where I've been. There's got to be. Oh no. Okay, keep going. I know what you're gonna say. I have a feeling.
Nashville.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Should have been 4. I want to switch it, but I can't. Nashville, I'll put 2. It's fun for about 3 hours in Nashville. It's the only place in the world where you see some of the most attractive people in the world. Yeah, and it's great people watching. It's expensive now. Nashville is rated every year like the number 1 city for like hotel costs. So like you can stay at a Holiday Inn Express like 2 miles outside of downtown for like $450 a night on a Tuesday night. It's awful. Damn. I hate it. Yeah. Right. Number 3 last year was Cleveland, by the way. But food is not great. Like Nashville hot chicken. It's not great. Obviously, one of my best buddies, loves Nashville. They have tattooed on his leg.
Do you think it's overrated?
Yeah, it's absolutely overrated. I think Nashville has a bubble, and I think it's almost burst. So the draw to Nashville is obviously country music and the bar hopping, but it's become pretty commercialized. Yeah. It's so busy. It's so expensive. I just think that it's, I don't know. I really don't like it. Yeah. I'm putting it 2, but it really should have been 4.
Well, this is kind of cheating then because, I knew this was going to be your number 1 anyway. Cleveland.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. My favorite thing to do is go somewhere and they say, where are you from? Like in a cab or whatever. And I'm like, from Cleveland. And they're like, oh, I was like, yeah, don't come. It's awful. Like literally don't come. It's awful. And they're like, what? Really? I was like, no, I love Cleveland. Cleveland has some of the best food, some of the best bars. It's you can walk anywhere in the city. In the wintertime, it sucks. All right. Let's just call a spade a spade. It sucks in the wintertime. So does Chicago.
Right.
Chicago sucks in the wintertime, but in the summertime, Cleveland is awesome. Like I love Tremont area. I love like Ohio City. Ohio City is like on a little more upscale, if you will. It's not quite as cool. I love downtown. You have some of the best restaurants that I've literally ever ate at. I'm obviously partial to Cleveland because I'm from there, but every time that I have somebody come in that has never been to Cleveland, whether it's family, friends, or like somebody from in the business world, they're here and they're like, okay, wait, I do want to come back. Actually, we just had Cornicky, who's been on the podcast. He's like, I love Cleveland. Right. I'm like, I told you.
And it's good for us. It's so close.
Yeah.
It's 40 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes downtown. Traffic is never bad. Everything's cheap.
Yeah.
Like, like nothing is expensive. Food, I mean, you could go out to like the Marble Room, for example, one of the most upscale restaurants that you'll ever go to, and it's in the atmosphere is awesome. You could literally go to Marble Room and have one of the best meals you've ever had, and with a partner, somebody two of you, whatever, can go for under $200.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you're I can't even go literally in Vegas. I can't go to the McDonald's on the strip for under $75, right? Like I'm also probably pretty inebriated.
A lot of McDonald's,
So I'm getting a little bit of food, but that's why I just love Cleveland. It's a hidden gem. I don't want anybody. It's imagine somewhere where you're on the water, but you're still in a Midwest city and. So I want people to make fun of it. It's not Detroit. Detroit sucks. Detroit looks like a.
I didn't even want to put a Detroit on the list.
Detroit is awful. Yeah. I will fight. Everybody's like, oh, at least we're not from Cleveland. I'm like, you're from Detroit, dude.
We're not Detroit.
Right. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, everybody from New York, you can kiss my ass. Number one, because of what's going on right now in the ALCS, right? Guardians, right. And the Yankees. But number two, I went to New York and drove through it. I haven't actually been downtown. I haven't been in Manhattan. I haven't like stayed.
Yeah.
It stinks. Way too many people. You guys are jerks. You guys are just jerks. Nobody likes you. Literally nobody likes you.
Yeah, no,
11 million people.
I was a fan. When I went to New York, I was a fan of New York just for the experience and the food.
Yeah.
That's about it. Would I go back? Probably not.
And here's the cool thing about Cleveland that people don't realize is that, Cleveland is like actually a smaller city. I don't even know the population. Is it 400,000? Is it higher than that?
Oh, I have no idea.
I know more people are moving into Cleveland, but what people don't realize is Cleveland is Northeast Ohio. So we talked about this on the podcast with Katie.
Oh yeah.
It was supposed to be like New York, where the boroughs of Cleveland were supposed to be all of these little suburbs. Mm-hmm. So we have millions of people that live in Northeast Ohio. That would be New York's population, but it's not because it's their own cities and their own, whatever zip codes and they're their own thing.
Yeah.
So I love like Little Italy's awesome. I love all the burbs around Cleveland that you can go and like try different foods, and there's so many different cultures. And so I love Cleveland. Also, our airport is awesome.
Yes. Just going, speaking like downtown things like that. I've lived. I mean, I'm not. I'm an introvert, so I've lived in Ohio my whole life. There are still things about Cleveland I'm discovering.
Yeah.
They had that. Oh crap. Oh, they have that.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about it. I guess you could say that about any city, but no, I really like Cleveland.
I mean, Cleveland, the Renaissance of Cleveland's been awesome to see. Just because like our parents used to go to the flats, and then we grew up where the flats was like didn't exist. Now the flats are coming back.
Right.
You see businesses coming in. There's scuttlebutt that they're finally going to close. The biggest issue with Cleveland that's hindered the development is that there is a private airstrip, so Berkeley Front Airport, on the water, primo location. If you ever drive by it and you're not from Cleveland, you're like, wow, look at the lake. This is awesome. And all of a sudden, it's just miles of landing strips. And it's like, why? That could be developed and be awesome.
Right.
And so there is scuttlebutt that they're trying to close that and develop all that, which would be just the greatest thing imaginable for Cleveland. It would be. No, not houses. No, they're going to put like, could you imagine like going and there's a bar district right on the water during the summertime. Yeah. I mean, literally the water comes right up. Like you could, it would be awesome. It'd be something like Navy Pier in Chicago, because Chicago did a really good job of developing their lakefront. But Cleveland's my favorite. Cleveland by far. Love it.
Oh, good.
Love it. Number one. I mean, I would actually. So if you would have put Savannah up there, I probably would have put Savannah number one.
I didn't.
Yeah, no. Have you ever been to Savannah?
No, I haven't.
I love Savannah. Savannah's awesome. But all right, well that's it.
That was good. So let's get into Brock and Jed.
Yeah. So sit tight. You know what? I think this is one that you could take notes to. Yeah. They gave great insight. And they were an open book too, man. They were so like excited to do it as well. Brock wore a tie like a dork, but I mean, wore a tie. He's like, "Well, I had a meeting." I was like, "I don't think he had a meeting."
No, he's professional.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
He's professional.
No,
I respect.
no, I love Brock. I love Brock. So obviously, you'll see. Like
You can't hate him.
No, you literally could not hate Brock.
Al Qaeda loves him.
Wow.
Leave it in.
All right. Let's get to the interview.
All right.
Like corduroy?
Yeah.
But it's you have to
I asked.
yeah. You have to
He said it with his eyes.
yeah. You just got to find the right stuff that actually fits the body type.
That's true.
because I'm the same way. Like I can't wear the stuff he wears.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah.
It can't fit.
I'm petite. I shop in women's sizes. As you can tell.
child.
Child
Where's
small.
a child?
Tallest guy here.
That's right.
How tall are you then?
I'm 6'2".
6'2".
Yeah.
You weren't that tall at the time, were you?
Yeah, he was.
Taller.
Yeah,
In a bird.
He shrunk an inch.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
When
No,
was
I
the
When it's cold out.
I shot up like
We
in high
all do a
school.
little bit.
when was the last time I saw you?
Oh, dude. Long
What's
time
wild
ago.
because we spent a lot of time together.
I mean, probably
A lot of time. Yeah.
high school. Probably.
And Jed is still by far my favorite.
Oh.
Well, it's because you can't compete. So
Hashtag
I get
winning.
that. I get that. You only like people you can compete with.
Yeah, that's a good. All right, whatever. That's,
Yeah, got to be on the same level.
Didn't see him all the way back there. I was too busy winning.
That's right. That's right.
all right. Yeah. So the Hartzler brothers.
Yeah.
You guys have an LLC together.
Yeah.
We do.
What do you
Hartzler Capital.
Hartzler. Oh, that's not as cool.
I know.
Yeah.
You know, here's the thing. Originally, we said like when we were starting this thing, we said we do not want our name as part of the LLC, and I forget what the reasoning was, but I think that it was because we didn't want anyone to really know what
Yep.
we were doing,
Okay.
and so like kind of the work hard in silence methodology.
Yeah.
And we were trying to come up with a name. We're like, forget it. Let's just put our name in there and call it Hartzler Capital.
Well, if it's Hartzler's around here, I'm thinking cows,
Yeah.
farming.
Right.
So you took us all by surprise.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we took ourselves by surprise,
Yeah,
truthfully.
just great ice cream. Are you still working for them?
I'm the CFO. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Well,
He is them.
There's a chief. There's a
they
chief.
He's a
contract my firm as CFO. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Here. Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
back to like the LLC, because I actually would like to start an LLC with a buddy of mine. Now, did you guys, when you did that, I know family's easier, but did you guys like have to like a business contract up, like responsibilities, divvying that up? How did that come?
Well, actually, I would say that family's harder because you see how many times have you seen family businesses actually work out?
That's true.
So many times it's they combat each other, and so that is really difficult. So to speak to your question, we did a operating agreement. We got together, put an operating agreement together that was good for everything, so that one of us couldn't ever do something that the other one didn't want to do. And if it was a stalemate, we would just, hey, we're done. You know, we can't move past this, so let it be. Thankfully, that hasn't happened. But Brock took care of most of the paperwork, as far as, you know, he had the lawyer that he worked with. He had all those guys that I didn't have. And so I think that's what makes us work really well is he has a lot of skills that I don't have. And
Let's not get carried away.
Did you hear that? Wait, you know what? Say that one more time.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
We can clip that.
Yeah, we can clip it.
Because it'd be his ringtone.
So yeah, so when we got started, you know, that was his side of things, and he took care of all the computer stuff, and you know, that's his background is in accounting, and that's what his business is. So I stay out of that, and I think that's why we work, is because I don't touch that stuff. I do all of the things that are in the field, from the construction side of things. I knew all of those guys. I had subcontractors already from years back that I dealt with all of that scheduling and whatever. He didn't have to worry about that. Same with, I don't have to worry about the books. Yeah. He takes care of all that stuff.
Because I remember when you started working, it's like a window company, right?
Yeah, so
It was like you got in like right at the beginning.
Well, yeah, they were down at Columbus, and they had a nice business down there. And I was working as a contractor. I was running a contracting company out of Orville for a number of years. Got out of that, decided I wanted something different. So they said they wanted to open up a new facility in Northern Ohio just to expand from Columbus. And so I got into that, and it was a grind, a absolute grind. I mean, shoot, I didn't have a phone for the first 2 weeks. I didn't have business cards. I had a corner sample of a window that I didn't understand, and I decided, well, I have to be the smartest guy in the room wherever I go to make these, because it was cold calls. And so I just have to walk into these architects' offices and builders' offices that know significantly more than I do. So I had to find a product that no one knew about so that I could automatically be the smartest guy in the room. And so I just started going in there for 3 years. And, man, I mean, you're doing, 20, 30, 40 cold calls a week. And it's no, constant. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of no's before I even got a yes. And it was discouraging for a lot of years. But, I mean, eventually, things just worked out. Yeah. And so now the office has exploded. We've got 3 other sales guys. We're bringing another sales guy on. We got an install team, full warehouse, 2 showrooms. We're opening another showroom down in Naples, Florida. So, yeah.
You might have to go see that, right? Like,
a few times. Yeah.
Tough job, dude.
I think probably like 2 or 3 months out of the year. Yeah.
I'm going to be down December and
right. Yeah. December through March.
So I'll go. I'll go with you. Yeah, thanks. For Sounds good.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at over there? So yeah, because I do remember.
Everybody wants you to leave.
Yeah. Wait, watch your head.
There's a door. Yeah.
Don't hurt the TV.
Yeah.
Because I remember when you started, and you were saying like it was. I remember you saying like I don't know much about it, and
didn't know much. I didn't know anything.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Now I'm just
still pretty.
I'm a better liar.
Yeah.
Just a pretty face.
That's right. Yeah.
Do you notice? All right. So you shave the head now. Do you notice people like maybe are more receptive to you now that you're bald?
Absolutely.
Isn't that
wild?
Which
is I would have never thought it.
Yeah.
I had a guy, I had a client come in one time, and we were talking about some things. He said, so what are you, like 50, 45, 50? And I'm like,
close.
And this at the time I was 31. I'm like, I'm 31. And he goes, oh, sorry.
Never ask a lady
right.
her age.
Yeah,
dude.
right. Yeah.
So shave the head.
So,
yeah.
So anyway, so the other thing that helped a lot was I got in the gym heavy, and so I'm a bigger guy.
Couldn't tell.
And so and my voice is a little bit on the lower side, and so that helps a lot. It's a beautiful. Damn it. So there is a lot of like when you exude that like seasoned professional vibe, people automatically respect you more.
I think it's the shaved head. I don't know.
It easily could be, but I did notice it for sure.
Yeah.
I think people thought that I was in the industry a lot longer than I actually was. And so, I mean, perception is reality, right?
We should probably shave.
Look at this guy. He doesn't care how he looks.
He looks like
he must care about.
My beauty does, come into play as a hindrance sometimes.
Right. Yeah, I am so beautiful.
This has got to be tough.
It's a rough life you lead. Yeah.
Wow.
So when there's a disagreement between you two business partners, what physical altercation is there to
Physical?
break the tie?
Naturally, I
mean,
lose.
you're brothers, so there has to be like arm wrestling.
Right. No. Yeah, we throw the gloves on and
No, honestly, we stay in our lane pretty much. Every now and then it'll cross over if we're looking at a property or something, and I'll present it, and he'll show some signs of, this is why I might not think it's a good idea, or vice versa, which is good. It's helpful to have a diverse background, but you can start and do it yourself too. It's just a learning process, and anymore though, there's a lot of content out here to help people, right?
Yeah.
But going back to you talked about LLC and operating agreements and stuff. Yeah. A bank requires an operating agreement if there's more than one person. So we needed that, but it also we needed it for the bank, but we needed it for us because God forbid what happens if one of us dies. How do our spouses? What do they do? Do I want to be a partner with his wife? Does he want to be a partner with my wife? They don't want to be partners. So how does the buyout process work? In the operating agreement states that. Okay. Right. But as far as LLCs go, we have Hartzler Capital. We have a couple other subsidiaries of Hartzler Capital. But I'm a big gamer. Did you guys ever play Uncharted? The game Uncharted.
I know of it. I don't play.
Okay. Well, there's a line in it. My parent company. Everything I own is under a parent company called Sic Parvis Magna. That's like the name of my parent company, and everything I own is under that. Not personally, but every business holding I have is under that.
Gotcha.
Whether it's Hartzler Capital, whether it's my own firm, all of that is under that parent company. And even individuals that are going into this should have an LLC to segregate liability. Honestly, everybody needs one.
Yeah.
So I think that's the first step. But yeah, operating agreement's important. And knowing the right people.
So what do you guys
Huge.
have? So together, is it just rental properties or is it
No, we have.
what else do you have? Because I know Jed, you just opened up a gym.
Well, yeah, we have
Is that-
we
is
have
that part of it?
we have two gyms.
Okay.
We have CrossFit Steadfast in Worcester and CrossFit Steadfast in Ashland.
Okay.
And then we have Buckeye Country Creamery.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the real estate.
So that's all under
So you-
Hartzler. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Hartzler Capital, yeah.
you
All under
okay.
So you have like Creamer's like an ice cream shop.
No, it's all milk.
Okay, I was
and
gonna
that's and this is something that's really cool too. So the creamery side of things, Brock knew a lot about just from being as part of the dairy and understanding a lot of that stuff. So he does a lot of that. Now we have conversations about how do we go to market, how do we branding, things like that, strategies and whatever. We have a lot of those conversations. But as far as the down and dirty part of how do we make this something that is sellable is him.
Yeah.
The beautiful part is when the gym is my passion. So for me, I can handle a lot of that stuff, and he handles a lot of the creamery. So we were able to get two businesses that are so different, and each of them was our own kind of lane that we can both play off of each other. Yeah. So it really worked out kind of nice. So
Business idea, next venture, ice cream stand. Creating the supply and demand here. Make us fat and then make us thin.
and then work out.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What a
But
stupid idea.
How is that?
What a stupid idea.
That's not a stupid idea.
Yeah. No, you're just saying it because you're right here.
Is that a stupid idea, CFO?
Well, I think it's a great idea.
Hey,
Just use your own money.
that's right.
Yeah, you should do it.
yeah, you should be. It'd be great for you though.
Yeah,
Is it a
we'll
fat
clap
joke?
in the background.
They'll visit once a year.
I'll make my own podcast.
They just won't let their children eat your ice cream.
Wow.
I
I
wouldn't.
wouldn't either.
Okay, that's cool. So, all right, let's go to day one. All right, what was the first thing that made you guys say, "Let's do this"? Was it a rental property? Was there a business you wanted to buy? What was day one?
So our first purchase was a 5-unit, and at the end of 2021. And one of the big reasons of getting into that was it was really twofold. The market was garbage at that time, and so we figured, can we take our funds out of the market and invest it in something that we know is long-term proof, right? Like you own property, you own land, it's going to be here. For the long haul. And so that was one of the main reasons we wanted to get into that. But the other thing, too, is we needed some tax write-offs, some big tax write-offs.
That was the big one for
Join
me.
the club.
Yeah. And so being
That was
able
actually
to...
what spurred the entire conversation.
Yeah. I mean, we were paying a lot in tax, and the best way to get around that is real estate, honestly. And being an accountant, every property we do a cost segregation study on it so that we can maximize our annual tax impact, and then the goal is to buy at least a property a year just to help mitigate that. Now when you do that, you can't really sell because you're
Trying to
doing
take
some
the
capital
depreciation,
gains on
yeah.
that if you do sell after you've taken a bunch of depreciation. So it's we're in it for the long haul, and we have sold one. We sold a duplex. But other than that, we've kept everything.
So you're not really flipping. You're strictly
No.
investment and holding them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was with the 5-unit that you first purchased, was that occupied? Were they vacant? Okay.
Fully occupied, and there was some value add that we have yet to capitalize on, but there's still value add in there. There's a whole spot for another unit, which we can get into. But we haven't put the capital into it because there's been other things we wanted to do. But that was a big draw, is obviously the price per return that it was bringing in, but then also the opportunity to add value to it.
Well, I think that's important. Is we wanted to make sure whatever the purchase was, we were cash flowing, like actual net cash flow at the end of the month. And we have seen a significant amount of these purchases of rental properties that there is zero way that they are cash flowing, and not only not cash flowing. I don't know how they're even paying the mortgage payment on them, unless they're paying 75%, putting 75% down on these
So
things.
you're seeing you're talking about purchases you're seeing out
Yeah.
there.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Are these by? I've seen some. I've wrote plenty of loans for people. I'm looking. I'm like, you sure about this?
Yeah.
But a lot of people are doing it. Number one, to acquire another property to where they're comfortable. Even having a net loss, because on your Schedule E, you can, come on, nerd, talk to me about it. Right? So, showing that loss because they're going to unload this property, and they're like cool sitting here waiting for it. So that's somebody with a larger portfolio. Now, I have seen people coming as this is their first investment property, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't know about that. But but I can use the appraised rent, right, to offset some of my mortgage payment. I'm like, not in real life.
Right.
Just for
Theory's
approving
great.
the loan, right? Yeah.
Right.
So that's no, I have seen that, and I've seen a lot of people were doing like those DSCR loans. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those, but people were doing those, and those are typically just major investors that they're cool losing a little bit now to where they can can always refinance. Can't always refinance. We'll put a little asterisk next to that. Can't always refinance, but you could always refinance.
Right.
They're playing that market game to hopefully when it's going to come back down. So acquire, because I always say, I've said it probably like 4 times on this podcast. I say it to people all the time. The best time to buy a house was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. And not
When's
in
the next best
2022.
time? Yeah.
The 20. Like it's always 2 years ago because that house right now we're seeing homes appreciate 6 to 8% a year. Right. So you can't go back in time to buy a house. So I think that's maybe where investors are looking. But I'm 100% with you. We are seeing some transfers that I'm like, that's a little egregious.
That was my plan. It is still my plan. The exact same. I'm not sure if Michael mentioned it, but I'm doing the same thing where I'm trying to get at least one investment property a year. I have one right now, with 3 units in it, but it's still only one. But I bought that almost a year and a half ago, something like that. But I've been looking for. But it's been the same thing. It doesn't make fiscal sense. You do the numbers. Like, how can they sell it? So that's the issue I'm running into now. And so I can't find.
Well, and you asked like if there's a disagreement, what do we do?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So what kind of altercation do we have?
wrestle.
How do we? Right.
You're gonna lose.
I lose every time.
That'd be par for the course our entire life. No, what we end up doing is we just say, okay, then hands up. We'll let it go. And so
we'll see if it was a good idea or a bad idea.
Absolutely.
Which it seems like
so far,
yeah.
it's been whatever decision we've come to has been the right one.
That's good.
So I mean, I don't know if this is wood or not, but we're going to knock on it anyway.
Plastic.
Plastic.
From Lowe's.
High quality stuff. There.
It's a perfect beer pong table, by the way. I don't know why we have an 8-foot table, but we have an 8-foot table. Works out good now. This is the first podcast with the table, by the way.
Okay.
So,
Oh, really?
So here's the issue. If you look at the first episode that we did, a lot of bellies because we're all in these chairs.
Yeah.
A lot of dads sitting there, a lot of
the most
bellies.
flattering.
Right. So every episode we're like looking at it, we're like,
It still doesn't hide it.
So my biggest thing, because I've been I like with real estate agents, I like help them like do content, make videos, and the biggest thing, or even other loan officers, and the biggest thing they're always like, oh, I look horrible. I'm like, well, it's the way you look, and then I look at my videos, I'm like,
Yeah.
can't even,
Well,
I don't look
just
that bad, right?
Says that to me every day.
Well,
I don't even have to ask him.
Yeah, what, 40?
Did you eat 10 TVs?
Yeah. So, all right. Anyway, so all right, let's go back to day one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, you guys purchased it. Did you guys finance the first rental property? No,
Well, first, let's talk about how we even found it.
Yeah, sure.
Because honestly, like Brock called me, said, hey, because we had a conversation. We were driving in the car, I forget where it was, and I said,
Chuck E.
man, I'm going to
Cheese.
pay so much tax this year, and I told him how much tax I was going to pay.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to get write-off somehow. And I had a farm. I have a farm, but it's a hobby farm, and there's not a lot that I can pull off of that. I mean, there's some, but you have to show a profit 2 out of the 5 years, so it's not a guaranteed thing all the time. So I told him, and then he called me a few days later. He said, hey, let's get into rental properties, because if you get into rental properties, you have the write-offs, and he talked to me about the depreciation, whatever. The problem that I had was our parents did rental properties for years. And inevitably, Dad would get called in on Thanksgiving afternoon
Always on
for
a
somebody that had a water heater issue or something like that, or Christmas morning, somebody's toilet's backed up or whatever, and so he's got to run in there. And I said, I'm not doing that. And so he said, well, what if we get a management company? And I said, well, if we can get a good management company that will actually do what we need them to do, sure. And so he found, should we say the name? I mean...
If you're happy with them,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can bleep it out if you guys.
Stewardship Realty out of Maslin, man, absolute. They're amazing.
Merle
they're amazing.
Miller is an absolute legend.
Yeah.
I mean, they do so much for us that we could not do.
Their admin team, they're amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, because we looked at a few different companies, but actually, and to talk about the 5 unit, they were the ones that gave us the lead for the 5 unit.
Really?
Okay.
They actually already managed it, knew that the current owners were looking to offload it because they were getting older. They were ready to get out of all that stuff. And so he said, would you guys be interested? And we said, a 5-unit? Like, yeah.
those are hard to
Because,
come by.
we were listening to the
Yeah.
Grant Cardone,
Start with 35
Right, 32 units is the best to start with. Why not? And then, what's
It's
that?
only like $1 million
Yeah,
cash.
my dad gave me just a small loan of $1 million.
Yeah.
And I just, like, wow.
Yeah. So people listen and look, Grant Cardone, like we listened to Grant Cardone a lot when we were first getting started. And there's a lot of stuff that we did glean from him. Like you can learn something from everybody. Yeah. Everybody's got something to teach you. I don't agree with, and I can go more into this later, but I don't necessarily agree with from the outside investor side of things, because I'll be honest with you, you will never be more stressed than dealing with other people's money.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we did not want to deal with that because we did have the opportunity.
Except I don't like saying that because that's what I do for a living.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, play with the bank's money, sure.
No, the
Yeah,
bank's
so- yeah.
different.
The bank's
Private money,
different.
yeah.
I'm talking like
Someone hands you a $10,000
correct.
check.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Aaron,
Now
you
the
want to
SEC
invest
could
with
get
me?
involved,
But-
and
yeah,
you don't want to mess.
What are you, a nerd?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they brought us the opportunity, and we said, heck yeah, like 5-unit on our first one. Like we never even dreamed that possible.
Yeah.
First, we thought single-family homes.
Yeah.
Like that's what we were going to do.
Yep.
Because that was an easier thing to get a loan on. We could afford them. And then stewardship brought this opportunity to us, and the price was unbelievable.
Yeah, we were happy with it.
Yeah.
We knew that there would be we knew it would cash flow, and we knew that there was going to be equity right away, which was nice.
So that first opportunity, did you guys pay cash? Did you finance? So
paid
25% down, probably.
20% down. I think
20%.
most of our loans are 20% down.
Yeah.
Well, we do commercial loans.
A lot of times we'll do commercial loans.
Yeah.
Well, only because like a 5-unit, you can't do a residential loan on it. Right?
Yeah, you'd have to portfolio it. Yeah,
Yes.
the agency allows you up to 1 to 4 units.
Yeah.
Anything else outside of that is a portfolio. So
But
DSCR.
even
Yeah.
our single-family homes, we commercial loan
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah. Anymore.
And honestly, like if someone's trying to get into investing, that's the way to go.
Like commercial?
Yeah.
Problem with the problem with that is for the average person, it's not, it's maybe it doesn't have enough capital, maybe they don't have a long-standing history of because
yeah,
you
absolutely.
just got a commercial loan on your property.
Yeah.
But it was more of on the personal side, looking at your personal.
I had
assets
to get
because-
approved through
Well,
my
and they
personal.
do, and we did as well. And we're I'm not saying that. What I mean is from the ease of getting the approval.
Once you're up and running, for sure.
Yeah, I
'Cause
mean, you
at
can
that
just
point
keep-
they're looking more of a cash flow,
Right.
Which is so. Like I said, I keep saying that DSCR loan that what we have. So it's a debt service cover ratio. Is that what it is? And we
Yeah.
don't do many.
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
do many, right?
Yeah.
But what it does is like if it covers the gross rents cover the mortgage payment, then they don't want to they won't verify any income. They don't care as long as you see. All right, here's the lease, what we're getting, and then here's what the appraised market rents are. It covers that mortgage payment, then it's
Right.
approvable. They look at then assets and your credit, right? So similar, kind of like that your commercial loan, they're looking more at your relationship, right, with the bank. So do you guys use the same bank most of the time that you have your depositories with? Or?
We got screwed over by a bank.
Big time.
I don't know, year ago maybe.
Yeah.
And so then now we switched. Matt Ogden's a fantastic lender out of CSB now, and we've used him.
CSB is
CSB.
typically who
Yeah.
I refer to.
Yeah.
You'll have to tell me who screwed you over after the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
No, we'd
Yeah.
rather we'd rather not drag anybody
Yeah.
through
That's fine.
the
That's
dirt.
fine. And
but-
it's I don't know. I'm I was about to stick up for the banking world for a second. But
Yeah.
well,
like,
and you can tell them what happened.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's talk about it.
let's do that.
So basically, we were set to close on a loan. No, we were set to close on a refinance.
2 properties.
Two property refinance.
One was our 5-unit that we had bought
Yeah.
2 years previous, which
Yeah.
would now after 2 years you can refinance.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
And so everything was lined up. We went on a hunting trip out in Colorado for 10 days or something and then come back. We were supposed to close like 2 days after we come back. And I want to say we were supposed to get 100 to 150,000 in cash, I'm pretty sure, which we would use to invest in more properties,
House
right?
hacking, yep.
Well, we come back to the tune of they say you have to bring all of your banking to us or we're not going to close, right?
2 days before.
2
Not
days
even,
before.
Not even 2 days because you called
Yeah.
them and you said,
I
"Hey,
called
are
them-
we still good
yeah.
to close?" And they said, "Yes, we're good. We'll give you a call tomorrow."
I came out of the mountains to call them to verify it was going to be fine,
and they
it
still said it was fine. And then
Yeah.
we get back
So-
24 hours before we're supposed to close, and they say,
Yeah.
"Well,
And everything. I have how many businesses, everything is with Chase. Everything's with Chase. And so I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like everything I have is with Chase. I can't do that. And they said, okay, well, we're not going to close. Now,
this doesn't surprise me at all.
After later we go with Matt Ogden, love the guy to death. We refinance. The problem was in that time, it was right before the market dipped. And the appraisal came back $50,000 less than it originally was for just the 5-unit, which really hit us. But I think, this is my opinion, I think the bank's liquidity was getting low.
100%.
And rather than them say, hey, our liquidity's getting low, we can't write you a loan, which would cause mass disaster, they would rather take a poor review and
so
do it that way.
You know the difference between the mafia and banking?
Nothing.
No. One pays their taxes. Right? So I'm going to coin that, by the way. That's mine.
Awesome.
That's mine. Coming from the banking world. And
sure.
I worked at, I was in banking for 2.5 years. And then even on this side, I have a whole side of my business where I work with community banks that will wholesale mortgages through me that they don't offer, right? So FHA, any government loans, or even lower down payment conventional. And I have discussions all the time with senior executives at banks, or it could be the president of the bank. They're like, yeah, we have some that we need to unload off of our portfolio because we're over leveraged. Mm-hmm. So what it sounded like is that you guys were over leveraging them, even because I'm sure it was probably a smaller community bank.
Yeah.
I actually probably, I could bleep it out, and I guarantee you I know who it
we'll
is.
just say they moved on.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Good way to put it.
I told you that.
Yeah.
Because there was some shady stuff that they were doing even 3 years ago that brought to my attention because they actually used to work with me.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
Imagine this scenario. So a community bank has a ton of mortgages on their book at 2.25%, right? So the thing that I was running into when banks were wholesaling through us is so obviously there's some margin that we would have to add on for them. And they were refinancing in-house at a substantial lower rate than what they would go through me. So at the time, they would be like, oh, here's another loan application we need you to refinance. But and I'm getting them at 2.75. Imagine these days, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, wow.
You have no idea what my interest rate on my current house is. It's making barf.
Don't you dare say it. Don't you.
Tell me.
1.875.
No, sir. Negative.
Basically, that's what I'm looking for.
See you later.
I'm looking for those. I want to get paid to have this mortgage, right? So I'm offering a 2.75. The bank in-house is offering 2.25. So obviously they're going to go back to the bank in-house and get the 2.25. Well, then the market completely flipped, and then they raised rates so fast.
Yeah.
So anytime that the feds raise that funds rate, that is what they have to offer in their depositories, right? Mm-hmm. So that bank was offering big old signs that were saying, come get your 6.5%
interest on an interest-bearing account, for sure.
Checking account, not even a money market, right? Just a checking account.
No CD,
right?
Anything to get money.
So imagine, so banks only offer mortgages, especially in your guys' realm. They only offer mortgages to you guys so you don't go anywhere else.
Sure.
Right? So community banks will... They literally offer because they have to, because they measure a customer based on if you're the perfect customer. Do I have your mortgage? Do I have your checking account? Do I have your savings account? Banks make money off their depositories. That's what they want. Right. So when you guys are going in and just borrowing money, they have a ton of money locked up on the personal side at 2.25. Now I'm offering 6.5. There's a 4%. Tell me, Mr. Numbers Guy, that doesn't sound real good. So they're over leveraged. So what happens, you guys are not the first person that happened to. That happened to a lot of people.
Really?
And what they want is your depositories because, what'd you say? It's so hard to leave. I'm with Chase. I'm not moving everything. I couldn't imagine moving everything. Yeah. They know that. And that's why they wanted you. And they thought they were holding you hostage on getting this house. And then you guys were like,
called their bluff.
Yeah.
Literally, good for you.
But then also, I think that they didn't really care.
I don't think they cared
because
either.
I don't think they had the money to do it. Not they didn't.
They had the money to do it.
They didn't have the leverage ability to do it.
You guys were over leveraged, right? You guys ever go to the casino? You ever been to the casino before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you go to the casino.
I shouldn't say. Oh yeah, I've been there twice.
Big casino guy. Twice. I had to pee real bad. Yeah. So if you're playing blackjack and you're winning too much, right, and you have an edge, or even if you're just playing too well, they will come over to you and tell you to leave, right? Yeah. So Dana White tells a story about how he's so mad at MGM right now because they won't let him play $1 million hand because they did. They let him play $1 million hand. He won 3 hands and he left. So imagine, it's not really good business practice if all of a sudden I'm paying out $4 million and he doesn't come back. I'm not going to let you play anymore, right? So banking is fairly similar to that, where it's like, if I'm not going to make money off you, then yeah, I'm gonna, especially on the commercial side, because there's a little regulation. You guys notice that, like getting your residential mortgage, how much I have to have you jump through,
right?
And commercial, you're just like, yeah,
and that's what I was saying. Like, if
yeah.
you're going to try to get into this thing, like commercial is easy. That's a simple. It's not nearly as stringent. You don't have to go through
like
all of the
Wild
paperwork.
West.
It
Yeah.
is.
It is wild.
Yeah.
No, and that's why they make you pay a 20 or 25% down, as opposed to what you can get with. What do you see now?
So if it's a primary residence on an investment, like so if you buy like a 1 to 4 unit, you can go as little as 3.5%
There you go.
down. Actually, technically, you can do. No, Home Ready doesn't allow. Do they? I think they do.
I thought so.
3%.
Can you do that on multiple, or does it have to be primary?
You have to be your primary residence, but the rule is you got to live there for a year.
Yeah.
I think I have to bleep that.
So
out, but
house hacking is incredible.
Yeah.
You know.
So if you could go back, the one thing that I always tell people is like, it's hard around here in our area, but if you can find a 2-unit, like a duplex, like it's not fun to live next to somebody.
Sure.
But turning that in, like, so a lot of people, what they'll do is do like FHA, what conventional just started allowing. I know 5%. I don't know if Home Ready lets you do it. At least 5% down for conventional.
Intern,
But
look
you
that
can
up.
buy 5%. Yeah.
You looked.
Every time we always say intern, look it up. There's no intern. I just need somebody to look at. Yeah, there's nobody over there. I think every podcast we do that. Yeah. So you do 5% down, and then you get into 1 to 4 unit, and then after a year, cash it out, right? And then you go buy another one.
Yeah.
And you go buy, but it's hard around here, obviously, to find duplexes. I mean,
well,
man.
it's not hard to find them. It's
Well,
just hard to afford them.
it is
Yeah,
hard.
well,
They're
and-
so expensive.
They are.
Good night.
I'm I'm trying to deal with this one right now. I'm not going to use any names or location, but it's local. And he wants me to bundle like 2 properties that he has for $250,000. The rent or the lease on one was $1,200. They're currently paying. The lease on the other, like $500.
Yeah. No
That's
way.
it.
And he wants 250.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
He's
way.
out of his mind.
And, and it's like that doesn't make fiscal sense to me to do this. And it's like,
As a buyer, no
and
way.
I was straight up honest with him. Like, I'm not gonna have to lowball you by like $100,000, if not more, or raise the rent on both of them properties substantially, which would probably either drive them out, or in which case I'm sitting on vacant properties with.
Well, and these are commercial properties.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
yeah.
So the problem with that is like where it's located too. It's like
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to charge too much rent.
Exactly.
Because
Sure.
of
Yeah.
The
probably guess
problem
where it's
though
at, but-
Yeah.
is somebody probably will buy that.
Yeah.
And that's what we run into is we'll see these properties for sale and they're astronomical and we go, there's just no way.
Yeah.
And they get bought.
And they get
it's
'em.
like,
I know. It's
who
nuts.
on earth is buying these
Well, so
things?
people see it like again, like I told you the story about purchasing this. Like when like my partner saw the price of it, he's like, "Duh, why wouldn't we?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm thinking like resale, right? Like who am I gonna? You're number one, number two. You're in Burbank of all places, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot of people from maybe north, right, where you have like Cleveland, like metropolitan areas that are like, I could buy this for $250,000 and it's a 3-unit, 4-unit, whatever.
They look at the
with
square
residential
footage,
upstairs,
yeah.
and I'm
It
like,
has to be.
And I'm like, dude, we can't even get pizza delivered to our house. like, are you sure you want to buy this? Right? Like,
That's right.
Like-
And we saw it too. We see a lot of people who come in from maybe Florida or the Carolinas or something who want to invest up here, and they do. They pay those kind of that kind of money. However, for us, we have to be willing to say no, and I think that's the hardest.
Yeah.
The hardest lesson to learn from a real estate investor is learning when to say no, and it's okay to let it go.
Yeah.
You don't have to have that one.
FOMO is a real thing.
Absolutely.
Especially when investing, because
Yeah.
we always, I don't know, I equate investing to gambling as well, where you're like I should have just kept playing. I should have just bought in again.
Yeah.
I know I was just, so that's the investment. It's good for you to say that because, the ability to say no, that's actually something I talk about a lot is like what I noticed a change in my career was like 3 years ago when I listened to, oh man, I'm going to butcher who it is. I can't remember. He used to own Success Magazine. And he would interviewed like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates. And he said that the number one word that he heard from all these top level people was the word no, and their ability to say no, because especially in sales and in all the time, right? And just in any sort of business, we always want to be, it's not no, it's maybe later, or like maybe not right now. I want to say yes so bad, but that's the thing. Like saying no, the power of saying no is massive.
Well, and we had to come up with I say we, I use that pretty loosely. You came up with a formula for how much rent we would need to get out of a property for how much it cost. And originally, when we got started into this, we didn't really know like how much this stuff was going to pay. And so I worked with a guy who was in development up in Cleveland for years. And he gave me the number of a 6 times multiple. So whatever that rent was on the year, multiply that by 6, and you don't pay a dime over that. That was a great starting basis for us until the interest rates fluctuated so much, and then we kind of had to reevaluate all that. And so Brock came up with a great formula, and you just have to kind of find out in your area what that formula is. What is that multiple? What does that look like? If I know that this property is getting $650 in rent, this is how much I'm willing to pay for that property. Or if this is how much the property is, this is how much rent I need to get. Can the rents get there? If they're not, say no. It's okay.
You know, and with that too, that what plays a lot into this is single family home versus duplex or multi-unit. So we've been going away from the duplexes, the multi-units, and going to single family homes.
Oh, wow, okay.
And here's exactly why. When you have a duplex, first off, you're going to have more turnover. Naturally, you're going to have more turnover, and we've seen that and proved it. Also, generally, you're probably going to have some lawn care. You may have some utility that isn't split. You may be paying trash. You know, you may be having these other things. You also have, while you have everybody talks about the economy of scale. You have one roof for 2 locations. Yeah, but you also have 2 water heaters, 2 furnaces generally. Or if it's not split, then you're probably paying for it. Right. And so what we learned is if we go single family, our formula works because they're paying for everything. They're doing their own lawn care. They're paying their own utilities and internet and everything. And if they don't pay for it, they don't get it. Yeah. It just seems to be a little easier, and they're a lot easier to sell. It's a single family home.
Okay. Single family, yeah, because it opens up the market to people that can, because who can buy a 5-unit?
Right. Sure,
right?
Yeah. Sure.
Right.
Generally,
So,
not most people.
Right.
We didn't think we could until the opportunity fell in our lap. Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Well, and we can even talk about how we even got started because you have a 5-unit, and let's say you're going to get into investing and you want to buy a multi-unit and it's $300,000. On a commercial loan at 20%, you're going to need $60K. Where are you going to get that money?
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Right? So where do you get $60,000?
Yeah.
Right? I can go to Aaron. I can say, hey, can you loan me some money, and I'll tag you in. But like I said before, you'll never have more stress in your life than borrowing money from somebody you know, or worse, somebody you don't know, and then you've got this money just hanging out there. So what I would say is that get that money first, save that money first for you, and you have got to be willing to not go out to eat. You've got to be willing to not drive the nicer car. Because you look at how many people think that they deserve these things. Like, I've worked hard, right? Yeah. Self-love, man, right? Like,
Starting to sound like Dave Ramsey.
Right, right. Like, and there is, like we said, like
we talked about it, yeah.
Dave Ramsey's got some great things.
Careful.
I don't. Right.
Them fighting words.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think Dave Ramsey will not make you mega wealthy. Probably.
He'll make you comfortable.
Yeah. And he is great for people who, if you have a problem with spending, he's going to get you to a point where you're going to understand how to spend.
No, his snowball concept, like I've said, the way I put it is like when people ask me about him is he's good for the 9 to 5. He's good for a person that works 9 to 5 who wants 2 to 3 weeks of vacation a year and who wants to retire comfortably at 65, 70 years old.
Absolutely.
But if you want to make money and wealth and build on yourself, he's probably only 30% for you.
I mean, I had a guy, the guy that was in development that I work with now. When I told him I was going to get into real estate and companies, he said somebody that he worked for, one of the guys that he worked for said, leverage is the beverage. You have to leverage. The banks want to loan you money. They want to.
Yeah, they want to.
Now, here's the issue. If the bank says no, don't try to go around them. Because you see that all the time. These people say, well, the bank won't loan me money, so I'm going to go get it somewhere else. If the bank doesn't believe in you, chances are you're not a great bet.
There's a reason why,
right? So
they love giving money
figure out what that is.
Yeah.
Figure out what that problem is and fix it. What is it?
I like that.
It's your face.
Yeah, that's the whole issue.
Wow, dude, you jumped right on that one. Wow, we were way too serious for like 20 minutes.
We had to lighten it up a little bit.
What's a little character meeting?
It's not your balance sheet at your face.
So I would say, like, okay, so your guys' story is not going to be the same. Like that's a tough one to get into for 5 units.
For 5 units, but if you want to get into single family, let's say The other thing we learned was buy the piece of crap.
Oh, 100%.
Buy that piece of junk that looks like you could never step foot in there, because you can probably buy it cash and then renovate it and then refinance it immediately.
Yes.
As opposed to taking a loan out for both. Let's say you take a loan out for a house, you can't refinance that for 2 years.
Yep.
So
Well,
commercial.
Commercial.
Yeah.
Is that your guys'? Like you have early, on
Yeah.
commercial. Yeah.
Yeah. So technically you can, but
6 payments is what we.
yeah.
After 6, you can refinance. Really?
Well, depending on the loan program.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Government. Yeah. 6. Some are 7, but yeah. And then conventional. Technically, there's not. Now for a cash out, you need a history of 12 payments, 12 mortgage
Gotcha.
payments for a cash out. But if you have 12 before, there's a way around it, but-
So anyway, so we, case in point, we bought a property. We had the 5-unit. We had some duplexes. We had bought 2 single-family homes, and the 2 single-family homes were doing really well. We had no problems. Never got any calls. The management company was doing amazing. They always cash flowed every single month. Yeah. And they stayed. And so we said, okay, maybe single-family homes is the way to go. And our biggest issues we had were with duplexes. The 5-unit, we didn't really have too many major issues. There was little things. You might have some people move or whatever. But with a 5-unit, one person out of there, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
And we can get more into that. But so we decided, okay, single-family was maybe the way to go. And so we said, well, we need to find, because we didn't have any money at that point. We had leveraged ourselves to the end. And so we said, we need to find a piece of junk. And so everybody said, well, you're not going to find those deals, right? Like, there's no deals out there right now.
Right.
There is deals.
Just gotta look.
You got to look.
Gotta
And
look.
so,
Every day.
and
Yep.
so we, have you guys ever heard of the red car theory?
Oh, like
Or the woman in the red dress.
No, yeah,
For the
well,
I've-
weeks.
I've heard that one.
It's not. I forget what it's called, but it's actually got a name. Like it's like you don't notice red cars until you own one, then all you see is red cars.
No.
Oh, okay. Just kidding.
So
don't know what
sort
it is.
of, it's sort of along that line. But if I would tell me exactly how many red cars you saw on the drive-in this morning, could you tell me exactly? No. Now, if I told you on the way home, count every red car, and I'll give you $10,000 per red car you see. Do you think you'll see more red cars? That's how opportunity works. So if you're looking for it, it'll be there.
Yeah.
But so many people always say, well, they're not out there. They're not there. And so they just throw their hands up and leave.
Right.
It's there. You just have to watch, and you got to watch all the time. Yeah.
My favorite, like people are like, yeah, there's no houses out there. I've been looking. I'm like, you look for 5 minutes on your phone
Yeah.
while you're taking a crap. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't count
Right
dude. Like,
now, right now at this 5-minute increment, there are no.
Right. Yeah.
You're right.
Well,
You're right.
figure. Spend an hour a week. I bet
Yeah.
you might like literally. And
And have the notifications pop up on your phone.
Well, and
you know?
here's something that I think is really important is, okay, for you guys, if a client would come to you and says, hey, I'm looking for this, tell me when something pops up, right? When you see something, tell me, I'll buy it. Here's what I want. If you see something, I'll buy it, and I'm going to use you guys. You're going to look for them,
Right,
right?
yeah.
Why should I, if I have a resource like you, why should I, who doesn't have an MLS, put all that time forward?
Yeah.
I may spend 40, 60, 80 hours looking for one property, right? When I can spend that time working a 9-to-5 or trying another side hustle or whatever that may be, now I've got all that time and energy set over there where I'm making money as opposed to wasting my time with no resources trying to find something.
Real estate agents have a massive value, and it's hilarious that people come people come to me like they're pre-approved with like like another lender that's like Rocket shit. Okay, and then they're like oh well we're pre-approved, but like we've been pre-approved for like 4 months and we can't. There's nothing out there. I'm like, who's your realtor? And they're like, I use somebody, but they like kind of send me some stuff. I'm like, well, have you like had a conversation with them? No. I was like, all right. Hold on, let me partner you with one of my partners that actually does it full time and like an expert in the market. And then they're like, we're probably not moving. Lo and behold, I get a purchase contract a week later. I'm like, of course, because you're using a professional. That is their job. They have access to stuff you don't. Even if let's just pretend that you have the same resources they do. They're going to do a better job at it because you're not going to believe it. They're a professional. That's what they're getting paid.
Well,
for, right?
but that's the other thing is not all realtors are created equally, right? There are some garbage realtors.
Well, same.
Whoa.
There are some.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Oh, I did.
It's just like in every profession.
And
in every
even
profession.
banking,
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
there's horrible banking.
Because
we hate loan officers.
I have real estate agents that I said that to. Hey, this is exactly what I'm looking for, and if you send it to me, and crickets. Not that it wasn't out there, but they just didn't want to put the work in to do it,
No,
right?
because so investors also get a little bit of a negative
Sure,
connotation
sure.
in our industry just because it is the jump in, jump out. They're not active because there's a value when people are looking for their primary residence because there's emotion involved, right? So in sales, we try to take the emotion out of it, but we love when people are emotional because I can if you have an emotional problem, I have a solution, right?
Sure.
I'm going to solve your problem, but investors, you guys are not emotional, right? So your problem is
Can't be.
you're just like find me a house, which takes extra work. So it's a you know, a little bit of a when.
But that's all of it is finding a good team.
Yeah.
So we found stewardship, which is fantastic. We found BJ and Brittany Whitmore, who I was friends with them since high school.
Yeah,
Great realtors.
Yeah. And so we basically tell them like, hey, and we told them right now, we're gonna purchase a house a year.
Yeah, man. The last house we purchased, we didn't even look at. We were, I don't know where we were.
That's normal though, to be honest with you. But
I mean,
it wasn't for us. This was
it wasn't
the
for
first time
us.
for you guys.
First time.
Because we buy everything locally. We don't buy anything.
Imagine buying a primary residence without looking at it. You know how many loans I've wrote like that, and I'm like, are you sure?
Primary residence.
I'm gonna write it up. But
that's different because now that's emotional, right? Because it's your home.
Yeah.
Whereas for us, it was so nice to have a realtor that's just like, all right, we're going to go out there. I'm going to be honest with you. And it's not that she just wants to sell us a house. It's like, no, you're going to not be happy with me if I sell you garbage. So she was, she was honest with us, and 100%.
Yeah, and they went in there and they said, here's what you're looking at. This XYZ, and do you want to do it? Here's what we think. Yeah. And so we said, write us a loan or write us an offer, and 2 days later we had a contract.
That's a part of like house, like we talk about house hacking, like videos and podcasts, like Grant Cardone mentioned, Dave, which that's one thing about house hack I've never heard before. It's like surround yourself with that type of support system. It's like I was listening to this podcast the other day where it was the title was right up my alley, so it really ticked me off because it said
food.
Well, that always makes me happy. No, it said
I can get behind that.
Yeah, it says she's our next guest. Went into investments with zero money out of her own pocket.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, that's right up my. I've complained to you about this.
Yeah.
And so it was 40 minutes long. Like an idiot, I had like a 15-minute drive. I listened to the whole thing while I was driving. And they didn't talk about it till like 35 minutes in. And then they said, so, ma'am, how did you get into this? Well, my husband lost his job and we cashed out his 401k. I'm like, you!
Yeah.
And I'm like, of course that's how you freaking got
and
into
that's
it.
where we kind of started. Like, okay, so you have a $300,000, you have this $300,000 property, you want to have it, you want to get it, and it's 20% down, you need $60,000.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, just save it up. Like, I had a guy come to me, a guy I work with, and he's like, man, I heard you guys are investing in properties, whatever. I'd love to get in that. How'd you guys do it? And I said, well, since we were 11, we started saving our money.
Yeah.
And we saved up, and we each had six figures in the stock market, in mutual funds, and we said, well, okay, now let's do something real with it. And he said, well, I don't have that kind of money. I said, well, you got to get that kind of money.
So we talked about this in one of our podcasts when I said, like, everybody looks at people who are successful and they're like, oh, it must be nice, right?
Yeah.
And it's so you chose your hard by saving all of your, like, from 11. That's like my favorite thing to say, choose your hard, right? So your guys' hard was you saved up from age 11 till probably what you guys, well, you were like
30.
What?
Oh,
Well, when you got 2021, so you just turned 20, didn't you?
Well,
Maybe just a baby.
18.
I'm gonna have to edit some of this out. Easy. I take back my hug.
I was 20 whatever when 28 or
so you guys
something
chose
like
your
that.
hard by like saving through your 20s, and then now in your 30s you're investing and buying. Nobody sees that.
No.
Everybody sees like, oh my gosh, must be nice. They're buying.
Yeah, they see your posts
house,
on
right?
Instagram and they bought another house. That must be.
Well, you know what?
They don't see all
To
that.
put it into perspective, we each had over six figures in the bank, and mutual funds and such. And the newest car I ever drove was 10 years old.
Yeah.
I could have wrote check for a brand new car, but that would have set me behind so much. And we never got a dime from anyone.
Yeah.
And so we're making our own way, and so I didn't have the luxury to do that. Right. No. So it was the school of hard knocks through all of it.
We'll take it back to our parents, because when we turned 11 years old, they gave us a budget. Now, they gave us the money, and at that time I think it was like $80 a month, and school lunches were like $2 a day. Now we could use that money. It was enough that we could take that $80. You could put 10% into savings, 10% of the tithes to the church, and the rest of it would have paid for your lunches for the month. You can do that, or if you packed at home, it was free. So you could save those $2 a day. So every day that you'd pack, you'd save $2, and you could use that for whatever you wanted. That was what it started at 11 years old.
Wow.
And that went until we got our first job, our first full-time job, which had been like 16 or something. Yeah. And so that was a huge benefit for us because we understood budgeting. And I think that is a huge detriment that parents don't give kids right now, is they don't allow their kids to have hard things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
So because you don't. I get it. Yeah, it goes again back to choosing your heart. So even as a parent, like you have to choose that heart of teaching.
Dad said the hardest thing in life as a parent is to have it and not give it to your kids.
Yeah.
Because you want to. I want to be able to walk through the store and my kid wants a stuffed animal on the side and say, yeah, we can afford that. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
And they need to understand that they want and don't get. Because if they always get what they want, guess what they're going to do when they're 25? I want that $60,000 car that I really shouldn't afford, but I can afford.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy that $6 latte every single morning, and I'm going to have nothing.
And I didn't have coffee for you today.
I got a sweet.
That sweet little water cup, man. You take that with you, big boy. That's yours. Yeah, it's real nice.
Yeah.
Little leaching plastic water for you.
Thanks for the gift.
Stings the nostrils.
It's not from the well, though, because this used to be a gas station.
Oh.
So that was the one thing when we bought it, Ross was like, don't drink the water. So downstairs we actually have holding tanks so he built so it's like from a farm, right? Like these big
really? Yeah, like a
these
cistern
big
kinda?
holding tank. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
Really?
we get water delivered. Yeah.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a fun fact. But we have it filtered. You guys are good.
Yeah.
We have filter in there. Yeah,
We give you the good stuff.
Wow. Yeah, we didn't want you guys to have diarrhea. Like, you know what I mean?
As long as it's not here, right?
Sir, this disease does not come from the United States. Where did you go? You traveled, didn't you?
Yeah. Burbank.
Burbank. Yeah.
Oh my God,
Ever
sir.
heard of it?
Are you inoculated?
All right. So one of the cool your dad stories. All right. So your dad was my favorite Hartzler. No, he was my second favorite. Number one was your mom. I mean, hands down, right? Okay,
Understood.
Number three was you. Number four was your sister. Number five was every other Hartzler I've ever met. Which is a lot.
There's a lot of us around.
You're
Right.
the ones I don't know, right?
And then Brock is just bringing in the rear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're
That's
just
pretty
way down
typical.
there.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
but your dad told me, man, was that when I was at the bank? When did he? Maybe because he always did my taxes.
Yeah.
But Brock won't do them. That's fine.
Yeah, that's right.
He turned me down. He's like, no.
There's one person I won't do
My favorite part. Well, your dad looked at me. He's like, how afraid of jail are you? I was like, not.
that would be him. Absolutely. Yeah.
You're not paying any taxes.
That's a good banker.
You're getting a return, and I was like, I'm gonna kiss you. No, but I think maybe it was when I was doing my
jail
taxes.
are you?
I think it was when I was working at the bank, and he came in. He got his first mortgage, which
Yeah.
I think you have the car. His down payment
Yeah, I have it.
was his Corvette.
Yeah. I still got it.
That's awesome.
His collateral.
That was
Yeah.
well, because I was like, how, what
Yeah.
do they he's like, no, it was the collateral. Because I'm like, did you go get an auto loan against it? Because you can do that. Actually, you can use that as an asset, get a loan for your down payment. And he's like, no,
Gave him the title.
they just held the title until I paid off the 20 or whatever.
That's
he had
really
down.
cool.
Yeah. He literally, and he's like, I got the mortgage, I got the money the next day.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, that was my story of getting my first mortgage.
Yeah, I still
I'm
got
like,
the car.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Wow.
That's
It's actually it's getting I restored most of it myself, and then now I've got a guy in Medina who's finishing the restoration. So
That's sweet.
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
but
cool.
that was his story.
What a cool.
So
yeah.
he went into Chippewa Valley Bank at the time in Rittman and just literally walked in and needed a mortgage, and they're like, "Well, you have a down payment." And he's telling me, I didn't have any money in my name at all. I
None.
just knew that I needed I needed a house, and I think it was maybe right when he got married. I don't know the time frame, but
Yeah, right after.
okay.
Yeah.
yeah, and he
Early 80s, yeah.
Literally used a Corvette as
Yeah.
collateral. I'm like,
awesome.
times have changed a little bit.
Yeah.
Technically, you could, right? So if that car has value, I could actually,
Right.
you could go get an auto loan secured against it, and that money is immediately seasoned, and you can use that as a down payment.
But how many people actually own their cars anymore?
Yeah.
own their car?
Yeah.
I might do that.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking again. That's what because again, light bulbs are going
Yeah.
off this whole time, and I'm like, oh crap. Okay, I could do that. Could do
Yeah.
that. Can
Yeah.
do that. I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest, how many people own their car anymore?
Yeah,
I would love to actually have a conversation. It would probably be more of a debate because I'm the opposite of like where you guys say like I'm gonna go buy a 10-year-old car, pay cash for it, and have it. I'm not handy. I'm like not at all, and I put a value in knowing that somebody could service my car if need be.
Yeah.
To the point where like our commute, like because we use like. A car isn't fun anymore. You need a car. Life has changed where you like every family has to, the mom and the dad, they have to have a car. Like they just have to. Even though like growing up, I remember like, like tons of people had one car, right?
Right.
And they were fine. But you have to put like a value on your monthly budget for a car or for transportation. So to me, I'm like, I like having the idea, well, except I bought this one, but I used to like lease and then buy out. And it gave me, I knew like how much in my monthly budget I had to give to transportation, and then it didn't change. And I'm going to roll that over to the next one because I already have that budget in monthly.
Well, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
that's the wrong thing. I'm just saying how many people could actually go
Oh, yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
How many people could go take their car that they
equity
buy?
in their
Yeah.
car.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very rare anymore because
Oh,
most
yeah.
people take a loan. And we were always the same mindset too. Of now our 10-year-old cars, were usually family passed down cars that
Sure.
someone else had bought, and then we got them. Generally speaking, and we, I mean, I own my vehicle completely, and you own yours completely. I mean, so we still kind of take that mindset if we can, but. A lot of it is we look at the interest rate. So if my interest rate on my investment is making me 20, 30%, and my car loan is 6%, right? I'm not going to pay cash for my car,
Correct.
right? I'm going to put that into an investment,
Yep.
or the delta there is 20, 24%, whatever
Yeah.
it is. So I think that's part of it too. But you also can't over leverage yourself personally.
Correct.
So many people get deep into that leverage hole in personal debt. I hate personal debt.
Yeah.
I love business
Business debt, yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
we'll go into debt. I mean,
As long as we know the numbers
yeah,
work.
as long as it,
I mean,
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, again, I don't, the Dave Ramsey thing, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
people with wealth have debt. Like the people that are wealthy use other people's money and never their
Right
own.
on.
Yeah.
Right.
Right
and
on.
it's so like when you I don't know. I get so many people like that are Dave Ramsey fanatics, and like, well, I have to put the or what does he say, 30% or 50% down?
He says minimum
on a
of
house.
minimum 20, and he still says like 15-year mortgage.
15-year mortgage,
He still
yeah.
says
15
that.
year,
Yeah.
which is just bizarre to me
Yeah.
because like, good luck budgeting that.
well,
right on a 15.
and to me, a 30-year mortgage is awesome for me because you pay the same amount for 30 years, and the inflation right now. I mean, what they say it is not
Well,
actually what it
yeah,
is,
yeah, yeah.
but let's call it what they say it is. That inflation rate your value of your house continues to grow. So, and your income also grows generally with inflation. So your income is continuing to go up. Your house values continue to go up. Everything you have as an asset is continuing to go up, but that payment remains the same for 30 years. So the strain on my budget to day one isn't even remotely close to what is day 30.
This is
or
what people
year
don't
30.
understand about how interest rates work. You guys probably will. You're a nerd, so you will. But interest is compounded daily, right? So look at you. You're wearing a tie.
I came from a meeting.
Oh,
And I have I already told you.
wow. I gotta go. He's got to go because we're making fun of him.
Yeah.
He's gotta leave.
That's right.
Remember when
I'm
he's like,
outta
I
here.
got all day.
Yeah, right.
Got a meeting.
Big
How my
time.
meeting flows.
Yeah.
So
Continue.
if you take that 30-year note, now it used to be like we lived in a time. It's been 15 years ago where 15 years were cheaper than they
Yeah.
give you an incentive.
Yeah.
Sure.
But now we know how the Treasury bonds are working, and we have an inverted yield on the 2 and the 5. So you're not going to get a 15-year mortgage. They won't give you a discount because first of all they want your money tied up for 30 years.
Right.
But you can make principal payments. I show people all the time. I have a calculator. Let me show you how much you could pay extra,
Oh,
take
man.
the 30-year, and what it does to your principal. Because everybody, so here's the thing that people don't realize. On your car loan, when you say my car payment's $350 and you write a $400 check or give them $400, they take that $50 and they put it in a kitty off to the side. They do not apply it to the principal. Then they wait until you have enough in the kitty, right? And then all of a sudden they apply another mortgage payment. So yes, or not mortgage, car payment. Yes, you paid off your car loan early. Congratulations. You paid the same amount in interest. You paid the same amount. Yeah, you did. You didn't do it. You have to specify principal.
Right.
On a mortgage, they will take that and apply it on the principal. So what I tell people is like, don't do the 15-year, do the 30, pay the 15-year payment. And then if you have a month where your car breaks down, where you broke your leg and got to go to the hospital, you can always fall back
Right on
that 30-year payment, right?
Well, you look at the difference. If you just pay 1 month extra, we did that math
Per year, yeah.
Per year,
It's about 7 years. I think.
Yeah.
7 years.
and
yep.
the amount of interest that you
crazy.
save is absurd.
Yeah, because everybody's like, "Oh, banks are so crooked because all the interest is in the front of the loan." Well, that's how percentages work.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I'm sorry, your
Absolutely.
principal's at the
It's
highest because
front-loaded,
you borrowed. Yeah,
And we
So-
show them that. We show them the amortization schedule of like, okay, this is your principal as it goes down. This is your interest payment as it goes down. But it's like, again, I'll admit, like half the things probably just go right over their head. They just want in the house.
Yeah.
But these are for primary
That's a good
residential.
point.
Yeah.
They just
I
want
did,
the house.
I did a real Instagram reel and TikTok, whatever, of like, I just like a little white page, and I just showed literally a cash out example of what I did with somebody with credit card debt. And then, yes, you're having a high interest rate. 'Cause I don't know about you guys, but interest rates really shouldn't matter to you too much because they're based on they're based on what's going on in the market, right?
And it's not your money.
and-
It only matters to us when we are purchasing because it changes the purchase price we want to
Okay.
pay.
So I guess what I'm referring to is like somebody calls me and I say, yeah, like an interest rate 6 1/4, right? And then they spend 7-8 days trying to find. Then they're like, oh, I got 6 1/8. I'm like, okay, congratulations on your $7 difference, right? Like first of all, and then look at the points and fees associated with it. May not even be worth it. Number one, number two.
Yeah.
Went through that.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I am as transparent as any lender. I'm the most transparent lender out there. I will always say that, right? Because I'm going to explain to you what's going on, what everything. Literally, I do a Zoom call with every single borrower. Like, we're going to go over absolutely everything on this loan estimate. I want you to know where every single dollar goes to, because you know what 99% of other lenders say out there, which you guys have probably heard.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Ready? Oh, this loan estimate or this initial one, it's going to come in lower. I promise.
Yeah.
Well, what's that even mean?
Right.
Right.
Well, and that's what we learned. We were getting a loan on a property, and we decided, well, you know what? We'll try a different type of loan, let's say. And
With a lower down payment.
it was a substantially lower down payment, like half. The problem was the closing. For us to close initially, it was like 1%, less than 1%, and for this loan, it was like 6 or 7%.
Yeah, you're just paying those.
And so we're like,
points.
yeah. So really, the payment we're paying up front is about the same, except one's going to principal
Right.
and one's going to
The bank's pocket.
no fees. Yeah,
Correct.
100%. Yeah, 100%. So, no, that's good. All right, that's enough real estate. All right, let's get to something better.
yeah.
All right, so what we always like to do, again, you guys have watched some of them, but yeah, we want to like, who is Jed and Brock, right? So first of all, give me
Think of the dumbest person you've ever thought of,
and it's you.
and it's and then dumber, and that's Jed.
That's that's so mean.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Actually, Jed's my favorite. Yeah, I mean, so all right, you guys. So Brock and I knew each other because we were the same person. Like I was a senior, he was a freshman, except he was better looking. I hate you guys. You guys. First of all, you guys are supposed to be jerks, all right? Because you're the nicest people in the world, and you're so good looking. I'm sick of it. I'm literally sick of it. All right.
Let me get one flaw.
Yamanashi.
Give us one flaw.
Yeah. You know, at least I'm funny, right? Okay. God.
Sometimes I'm a perfectionist.
Punch him in the face.
Yeah.
When your funniness is directed towards someone else, I love it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Not when it's mine.
All right. So give me. So yeah, we played drums together. We played soccer together. You didn't play tennis. You wanted to run track.
Yeah, I wasn't
Um,
dumb.
What was cool? Actually, it went right. I didn't even listen, but now I got it. Asshole. All right.
Wager.
Yeah, hey, come on, get the jar.
Actually, so I will say, we'll be a little. The one thing I appreciated about you was you put as much passion and energy into stuff as I did. which is refreshing because nobody tries.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody tries. We talked about, I went on this
Yeah,
huge
yeah.
rant on this one podcast and he just sat there and watched me. And I'm like,
Because I don't try.
Because like,
Wait, this is I'm that guy. The camera's not even on.
but like, all right, so we used to make fun of tryhards. You remember that?
Yeah.
Like we got
Yeah.
like, so people would
Yeah.
like make fun of people that tried, and then the people that made fun of me for trying hard. I mean, like, sorry, I guess, like, now I'm still trying hard.
They
and I
won't
feel
be on
like-
the podcast.
Right,
So
they
yeah.
won't be on the podcast.
100%.
I
Yeah.
feel like I might say I'm a little bit successful, right? Maybe a little bit in my life. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm not. I mean,
You got one thing going for you.
I got one thing going for me. You know, I mean, yeah, I got. Okay, Brock.
It's nice.
I'm gonna take back this compliment. But you tried hard. You were as Pat. Like we would be in the band room practicing forever. We'd be standing in front of that dumb mirror working on our stick heights, right?
Yeah.
And forever. And then we would go. We also played soccer together.
Yeah.
And you played goalie, and I
Yeah.
played goalie. And I mean, you would. It was
Yeah.
refreshing.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
if you look back on the people that we went to high school with, like there was a lot of people that didn't try hard, right?
Yeah.
And the try hard ones we got made fun of for it. So that good for you.
Yeah.
Right? Good
Thank
for
you.
you. But
Thank you.
Jed, I guess I didn't really know you. You were 06. Were you 2 years?
I was
Seven.
2007.
You were 2007.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
guess
just a
I
year
don't know. You were
behind
too
us. Well,
smart.
Yeah,
So
he wasn't very
apparently.
memorable.
Yeah. Oh, that's the truth.
I remember.
So what I ended up doing was, and this is again down to my parents. There was a lot that I have to talk to about my parents for making me who I am. When I was a sophomore, there was an opportunity to go to Wayne College and get your first 2 years for free, and we never got our college paid for. No one paid for our college. We paid out of pocket for it, and we had to work through college to get it. And so my parents said, "You're not getting paid to go to college. So if you do this, you're going to get 2 years for free." And I said, "Well, maybe I'll just go part," because nobody did it back then. I mean, nobody.
Yeah.
Back in 05, 04, 05.
My sister did it, and they kind of made fun of her for doing it.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you were leaving the school.
For
Yeah.
sure.
And you were missing
Yeah.
out on your high school experience.
Absolutely. Whatever that is.
Whatever that
Right?
is.
Yeah.
Small
Have some
mind.
more
Yeah.
For sure. Just wasted. And that
Another
was
study hall. Yeah.
That was the thing with high school, man. It's just wasted time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
okay, let me go run track, and maybe I'll even make it to state. So what?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Who cares?
Yep.
Right? I mean, now I could say that, and somebody's like, "Well, I had a great experience." Whatever. I'm having great experiences now.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do that stuff back then, and I am where I am now. And I've got another 40 years to go. However long that the Lord gives me. But I look back at that, and my parents said, "You need to do this." And I said, "Well, maybe I'll go part time," because no one went full time. And I don't want to miss out with my friends, the high school experience. And they said, "Look, you either go or you don't go." And I said, "Well, then I'm going." And so I went to my guidance counselor at the time, and she didn't really know what it was. She didn't really understand what I needed to do, where I needed to go, or any
Sounds
of that.
about right for Norway.
Yeah. So I had
You're the voice of Norway. What are you doing?
Not the guidance counselor.
So anyway, I had at that time and chance, I was working for my dad laying floor at the time. And so I wasn't really able to play sports and stuff. I wasn't able to play football because I laid floor in the summer. And so we had laid floor for the guidance counselor for Orville. And my dad's like, "Maybe you should just call her up and see if she understands." So I called her up, and I said, "Hey, can I talk to you about this stuff?" She said, "Absolutely." So I met her in the kitchen where we laid the floor for her that summer before. And she walked me through everything, got me set up, everything. And so I went to college for the last 2 years of high school. And I got 2 years paid. So I was able to come out of college with zero debt.
Yeah.
Full degree, zero debt. And worked the way through. And so, I looked at that as, again, credit to my parents for telling me to do that. And they didn't make me. They just said, "You have a choice." They presented me with a choice, and here you have it.
Yeah.
And I made the right one. Thank goodness.
It's it's totally different now how they do it. They actually have classes at the school. I know actually, and this won't go over so well, but I know Norway is like one of the last in the county, to be honest with you, with post-secondary classes, which, I mean, I think, so my sister did, she said the same thing, like she had no idea who to talk to, anything, and even like for me, I'm like, I'm not going to do that. But funny that you mentioned that, because I'm going to go, my brain's working, or too much caffeine, ADD, all that fun stuff. But you said that I'm not going to do this like the rest of my life, right? So I had that epiphany. So senior year of soccer, like I got second team All Ohio, was getting recruited. And I'm like looking at all these schools, the one school, because you remember how rough soccer was, right? We won 3 games, and that was the 3 games when you were freshmen, right? The year before that, we won 0, dude.
And now they're undefeated for like 6 years in a row.
Wait, it gets better. You know, the year after I graduated, they won districts.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because,
Yep.
Jake and Bryce.
So that was the
back.
problem.
So I was the issue, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
I hate you guys. But like the 2 schools that like were heavy recruiting me, the one was actually Malone, and they went 0-17 my senior year. I'm like, I'm not doing that again. Right. Then Ashland, and they won like 3, and that was like I'm like I could do that. And then I remember sitting at my house, and I'm like, I literally am not going to be a professional soccer player. I'm gonna maybe get my school paid for if I can continue being, and it takes a lot of effort, right? Choose your hard. Right? There we go.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, when I'm done, am I going to set myself up for success? And instead I went to Akron and then transferred. I wasn't successful at all. That was awful. I remember waking up one day and I was like, I heard somebody said if you transfer schools, you get a new GPA. I was like, are you kidding me? You guys got to get out of jail free card. No way. So I transferred. The next semester. I went to Walsh. Yeah, I'm not Catholic. Yeah. They're like, sir, are you going to participate in whatever at graduation if you're Catholic? I'm like, nope. I could do this, I think. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So the first Protestant to graduate from Walsh, yes. Technically, I protest everything you guys do here. Martin
But I
Luther
appreciate the
told
new
me-
GPA.
Yeah, but thanks for the new GPA. Yeah.
But back to like we didn't really know me in high school.
Yeah.
That's
You were gone.
pretty much why
Yeah.
I was gone. You know,
Which would have been the last 2 years, which would have been my sophomore, junior
Yeah.
year. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So I didn't really do anything, and truthfully, that kept me out of a lot of the junk that a lot of high schoolers go through with the parties and the stuff. You know,
Yeah.
like I just didn't have that opportunity, and
Yeah.
so I didn't do it. And I was able and I was able to work hard then because I put all that extra time into work as opposed to now. All work, no play makes Jack a dull boy, right? So like you need to have some fun too. I'm not saying that, but if you really love doing something, do it. Like if you really love to play football, if you really love to play snare drum in the band, like if you really love that, go for that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like, but that doesn't mean that you can't do right.
Okay, back in
Are
high
you guys ready?
Back in high school. Not now. Not now.
Yeah.
All right, let's have a chop off. You guys
But that doesn't mean you can't. I could have still gone to post-secondary school and done.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that was just a choice I personally made, is that I didn't really care about that stuff
Well,
personally.
you chose your hard.
Yeah.
You did. You literally said, I would like to play, because you did play football, right?
No.
You never played football?
I thought you did one year.
I thought you did, like, when you were a freshman, sophomore?
Nope,
No?
never.
Okay.
All I did was so I played. I played through middle school. I played basketball and baseball through 8th grade, and then after that, I ran track, and that was it.
I'd like to see you in a basketball jersey. Yeah.
Now,
Your 8th grade basketball jersey.
yeah,
I broke it.
yeah.
What do you bench? How much you bench?
Raw, I bench 480.
Damn.
Yeah, I've done significantly more than that with board presses and stuff. The most I ever moved was 605 on a 5 board press. But it's just amazing. I never worked out through school. I never worked out in any of that stuff. I never cared. I laid floor with my dad, and I was always one of the stronger kids anyway, so it didn't really matter. And I always thought it was a waste of time. Well, then I got a desk job at 20 years old.
Yeah.
And I watched my metabolism dump, and I could feel it. And so one of my best friends, Adam Bowers, tried to get me into going to the old Zephyrs in Smithville when it was underneath Sam's Pizza. Yeah. And he's like, just come, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, And so he ended up getting me to go over there, and I was working for Mike Jarrett at the time at Pack Ship in the office, and so I had tons of time. I was single, Adam and I had were renting a duplex at the time, and so all we did was eat, sleep, work out, and work. That was it, So then I got the passion, and I really enjoyed it, and so from there I just kept rolling, and here I am now. But yeah, I need to start taking the heavy work down a little bit and going into a little more active movements, functional movements.
I don't know, dude. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, I work out sometimes too.
Those 12-ounce curls.
Yeah. So I actually started. Towards the end or middle of last year, I was like, you know what, I got to do something.
Yeah.
And just hit my first. I did 14 days in a row at the gym. Not gonna
Whoa.
believe it. Unbelievable, right? And then I went a week without going. But
Well, you have some to spare.
Small
You got
win.
14 in a row.
Right, that's what I said. That's a win, right? That's a win.
Yeah.
And actually, you're right. Like once you start doing it, it just makes you feel so much better.
Yeah.
right?
It does.
It
does.
It's bizarre. So the one thing, I have a coach, and we meet weekly, and he's like, that was a big thing. He's like, make sure you get that workout in. I know, even if it takes up some of your like, because for me, I get my kids on the bus, like I want to see them out the door, and then I'm not an early riser. I can't. I don't know about you guys.
I'm with
but
you.
I literally, I will be sick to my stomach. I'm literally wake
I'm
up
with
at
you.
5:30.
Yeah.
So I do it one day a week. I'll wake up at 5:30. You know why? Because it sucks. And if I do it, you're already stacking up a win that
All right,
day,
David Goggins.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'm already going to win. I already started my day off with a win, no matter how
Yeah.
pissed off I am about it. Right.
Yeah.
But then, so I'm like, I get in the gym by like 8:30, 8:45 every day. And then I get in here about like at 10:30, 11.
The thing that changed for me, because I took like 4 years off because I was back when I started the window thing.
Yeah.
I just didn't have any time, right? Which is, to me, now I
Yeah.
look at that and I go,
You had all the time.
You had all the time. In the world.
All the time
You just
in the
chose not to have it.
Correct.
Your priorities were not there. So now it's not to say I didn't work a ton. Like there was nights I slept. I didn't even sleep at the office. I'd work all day, all night, all the next day, and then go home and sleep, get up and do it again.
Yeah.
Like I've been there. So there were times that maybe I could only gotten in twice that week or 3 times that week, but I still could have gotten in. But anyway, I took some 4 years off, and what changed for me was the mindset of my health is as important to me as the next meeting. So set a meeting for my health every day, right? So I know that at 3:30 in the afternoon I'm headed to the gym. Every time.
Yep.
So now some of that'll change if the kids have something. I'm not going to sacrifice. I'm going to go to do the kids things.
Sure.
But if it's a meeting or whatever, somebody wants to schedule it after 3:30. I'm sorry, I have a meeting.
Yeah. The power of saying no.
Absolutely.
Literally. You used to prioritize and say, oh, okay.
And I tell them I have a meeting because it is to me. That's what it is. It's a meeting.
Nobody deserves that's my favorite thing. Like everybody's like, oh, like you said, you were at a meeting, but I saw you at the gym. Like, okay, doesn't matter. Or I saw you you were eating lunch with somebody. I'm like, doesn't matter. I had a meet. It's no. My schedule was my schedule.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. I don't understand why people get so.
Yeah.
I think that's
They
'cause
take
of
it
COVID.
personally.
Well,
And
I
it's
think
Because they realize there's a different priority.
Right.
And everybody
They're
wants to
not
be
the
the
top of their
priority.
priority. But then maybe that could have a reverse psychological effects. Like, oh, what could I do to make that priority list?
Yeah.
Well, sure,
Yeah.
absolutely, and you just have to have priorities in line, and it's tough with little kids. It's tough when
it's
tough
so
when you're
hard.
trying to start a business. I mean,
It's so hard.
and make things go and all that. But the other thing too is I think kind of back on the side of real estate a little bit. I bought my first house on a bank foreclosure for basically nothing. Renovated myself.
Yeah.
Then I found a farm that was at an auction or not at an auction, a sheriff's sale, and so I sold my house that I had a ton of equity in. With that equity, paid the down payment for the farm, and then the farm I worked and cleaned it up and whatever because it was a piece of crap. And then that down payment, the sale of that then allowed me to buy where I am now, which is the place where I'll be,
Wow.
Till whenever. But I think there's a lot of people who want what their parents left off with. They want to start where their parents left off. And they want to start in that 3,000 square foot ranch, that's $750,000.
Right.
And it's like, no, they didn't start there. You don't start there. You don't get to
Yeah.
start there.
Your parents lived in a house with 2 bedrooms, had 4 kids, and carpet in the kitchen. Right.
Right.
Like they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't have. I tell that to people all the time. Don't look at this house as your forever home. If
No.
you're a first time home buyer, it shouldn't be, because if you're buying your forever home, first of all, you don't even know what you like.
Yeah.
Second of all, you're it's going to change. So you leveraging yourself horribly now. Instead, make a better investment. Buy something a nutless monkey can pull carpet out of a kitchen.
Yeah, right.
Right. And then I can pay somebody to go. I think, was it you that did it? Because I did the same thing. So I bought the house. We were kind of neighbors there for I lived on Jackson right there. I was on Jackson. Or no, wasn't your first house on?
First house was on Crestview.
That's a Crestview. Never mind. For some reason,
I don't think you're a nutless monkey.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
But so what I did is I bought this ugly house that a lady died. It was off an estate. And
Yeah.
there was carpet in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I slowly did every single room. Most of them was literally just ripping out the old carpet.
Yeah.
Painting the walls, putting new flooring in, but I would do room by room. And I did like 0% interest credit cards. And then guess what I did after a year? When I finished the whole house, I cash out refinance, took my equity, paid off those 0% interest credit cards, and then I just created a ton of more equity.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, my mortgage payment went up when I cashed out refi, but the amount of equity that is. So I ended up selling my house for 140, bought it for 70, put maybe 10 grand into it. I mean, there's house hacking a little bit. And using that equity, then I sold that and bought my, I guess, you could say forever home, my next house.
And then like something that you mentioned too, it's like, and I hope my mom is not listening. I know she doesn't watch our stuff. But,
She will watch this one.
We'll talk about
what
that
you
later.
said like kind of sparked. It's like your parents owe you nothing.
Yeah.
It's like don't rely on that
Yeah.
inheritance
Man,
or that
nobody
gift from
know-
your,
nobody
exactly.
owes
no
you
one is,
anything.
well, especially your parents.
Right.
I mean, they've given you enough throughout
Right.
your
You
life.
owe them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If anything.
I mean, again,
Yeah.
my mom will be like straight to the nursing home when it's time.
Yeah.
Listen to that part. No, but no, it's like, yeah, it's
We'll
like,
clip that. We'll clip that. Don't worry.
but no, it's like, yeah, if you're relying on that, like you said, like starting where they left off, it's like, oh yeah, you should help me move into this house, like buy this, overly priced $500,000 house with a gift. It's like that. Don't ruin that relationship because you're expecting their help.
Well, and that goes back to I was talking. So my cousin is a mortgage. I don't know what he is, head of mortgages for Fifth Third in Columbus, and then I was talking to Matt Ogden over at CSB too, and what they were saying, and I had never heard this before, but apparently, with like COVID, when all this real estate just jumped, the prices were just soaring through the roof. Interest was so cheap, and but the houses, the dollars were high, and so you have to get a down payment, right? And these kids couldn't afford the monthly payment. Mm-hmm. So the parents would co-sign because the bank wouldn't loan it to them. So parents would co-sign. And now, with all this real estate taxes going up and the insurance rate going up, now that monthly figure has gone up 20, 30, 40%.
Right.
And they can't afford that loan. And so now these kids who can't afford what they had before that the parents co-signed on them are bad bets for the bank.
Yeah. So that's an interesting topic. I mean, we've gone an hour and 24 minutes. And this one I was about to wrap it up.
That's another hour and 20
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Yeah. So the one thing I will say is that the only saving grace that we have with that is that property values have gone up so much that in 2007, 2008, 2009, you had, most of the loans that defaulted were less than 2 years old, so they didn't have time to appreciate. And if you purchased a house in 2004, your house went up 50% in value by the time the crash started, 2007. And from 7, 8, and 9, it only went down 25%. So you still had a 25% equity gain.
Right.
But those people that bought in 06, 07, those were the ones that had the crash.
Yeah.
And they had no other option but foreclosure. What's good news is about these people that bought in 21 and 20 and 21 that maybe had a parent co-sign is they have that ability to sell because of how
They
much.
do, but then where do you go?
Well, that's not.
And
that's not.
no-
The
and
bank
that's
is
the
just
issue
thinking,
is that they don't want to downgrade because they've had it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so this goes back to that, like, I'm owed this thing.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And so they don't want to downgrade into something that they really can afford that they shouldn't have bought shouldn't have bought that thing in the first place. Is if the bank's not going to take a bet on you, check yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got other problems. So go buy some. Who cares if it's a 2-bedroom house in some not great neighborhood? I mean, especially when you're young. If you're a single guy, so what?
Right.
Yeah.
Go in there, get it, try to make some equity out of it, sell it, get out of there in 2-3 years, get something a little nicer, and keep working yourself up. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, don't be afraid to take the junk. Like, you're going to have to at some point. I mean, I shouldn't say you're going to have to unless you get help, outside help.
Yeah. The there's also another little crisis about to happen. We'll see how this goes. You guys ever hear a 2-1 buy down? All right. So 2-1 buy downs, I refuse to do them. There's a lot of loans that we offer that I refuse to do. One is like down payment assistance because nothing's free in this world.
Right.
Right?
Amen.
So
to that.
you have to pay that back, and we offer them. I will do them if people like if that's their. I coach them just to not do it. But the 2-1 I was totally against because what it is you have to get money from the seller in the form of seller concessions. They basically buy down the interest rate for the first year. They just pay points, right? But the seller has to do it. So that the money comes over in the form of the 2-1 buy down for the first year. It drops your percentage by 2%. So if the going rate was 7 3/4,
Whoa.
now they're paying 5 3/4 for the first year. Okay, you know, in Ohio, property taxes are paid in arrears. So what the county was doing, you're paying old property taxes, especially for that first year, right?
Right.
Because you're paying last year's property taxes. Well, the county went and reassessed.
Reassesses.
Everybody's got those, right?
Yeah.
Everybody got Wayne County was like, oh, we're missing out on some of these values. We're going to go
Right.
out and reassess. Homeowners insurance has gone up like 400%. I used to quote $60 a month for homeowners insurance just 4 years ago. Now I'm quoting $140 a month. Like it's tough to find any premium under $1,500 on a small house.
Yeah. Wow.
So we're quoting, I mean, substantially amount more. Property taxes, homeowners insurance, and then after a year, it goes up 1%. Your interest rate goes back to that 1% on that 2-1 buy down, right? That was last year coming into this year because they were big in 2022.
Whoa.
So then it goes back to that 7 3/4. Now, good news is rates are not there anymore, but people think like that mortgage payment at 7 3/4 and then 6 3/4. It's not like I'm saving you. It's not like COVID numbers where I was
Right.
bringing your payment down and cutting it in half.
Right.
You know, you're talking maybe a few $100s, but you just had your property taxes and your homeowner's insurance go up. So now you're used to making this $2,000 a month payment that might now be $200. And what do we do if rates haven't came down enough to let you? Because unfortunately, every loan officer was like, "Oh, rates are going to come down. Oh, rates they're going to come down. They're going. Oh, no, don't worry, you'll be able to refinance this, no problem." Yeah, you could, but we were thinking rates were going to be lower than they are now, and they kind of just keep kicking the can.
Yeah,
down,
I mean,
you
a
know?
little
It's
bit,
the
you know,
modern
but-
version of the ARMS that got people in trouble in 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
So the only thing that
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ARMs in 07, 08, they were underwriting based off of the current payment. So if it's 0% interest, like that's what you got approved based off that. So with these 2-1 buy downs, you still underwrote it like they were going to have the highest payment, right? So you're still underwriting it at that 7 3/4, whatever
Yeah.
the rate was.
But
so
you
if
get a
they can
break.
afford it, but the problem is that we turn into when we set a budget, we get we're used to it, and your spending habits are based off of that.
Exactly,
So the
yeah.
second that you get an increase like that, because you guys know 95% of the people out there need a budget. 95% of the
Yeah.
people. I mean,
Yeah.
if our credit card debt as a nation was just like its own little
Yeah.
GDP, we'd be
Yeah.
like the fourth highest in the
Yeah.
world, dude.
Yeah.
Like just our consumer credit card debt.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, and that's up substantially in the last few mones.
Yeah,
Did you
and
see that?
Yeah. So the reason, I mean, again, we can
Yeah.
we can
we're-
do that, but every time,
Sorry.
every
I
time,
keep
Part
getting
two.
into some detail.
you guys want part two? We can go
Yeah.
back
Yeah,
to part
I'll
two.
come back.
Don't you wear that again? Yeah.
We're a tuxedo.
I'll wear my blue one next time. Yeah, tuxedo.
But the Feds
Keeping it classy.
raise rates, right? And every time
Yeah.
they do, it's Wall Street Prime is based off of that, and that's what your
Yeah,
credit card is based off of. So some people were paying 16% are now paying 20, 25. I mean,
which-
home equity lines went up 5%, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, I mean, I have a home equity line. I encourage everybody to have a home equity
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, I do too, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So and all those went up. So if you were somebody investing in whatever, like myself in 2021 and 2022, where I pulled cash out, all of a sudden that balance went up. Now,
Sure.
what I mean, hopefully my investments also went up that I used that for, which they did,
Yeah.
so it's okay. But
We got into that though. Like when we first, like in 21, we were getting 4.5 and such, 5, like it was right before.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, 8.5. You
Yeah, on
know,
commercial.
they're much higher. So
Yeah.
well, all right. Well, we didn't even get into the fun stuff. We'll do. You guys want to do a part two?
I'll do a
Yeah,
part
we'll
two.
do a part
All
two.
right,
Yeah,
part two. So thanks so much for coming. This was
sure.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This-
absolutely.
This is an hour and a half.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, that's great.
We have
Yeah.
so much more to talk about.
We
It was
talk,
good, so-
yeah, and I think that's what makes we're both sales. Or I think truthfully, I think everybody's a
You
salesman,
should be.
right?
Every
Yeah.
job is a sales job.
Yeah,
every single.
Yeah,
You
you're always
sell
selling
every
something.
single day. Yeah.
Right, either yourself or a service or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what I know. We just talk. We talk a lot.
talk a lot.
And I got that from my mom.
Yeah. Not from our dad.
Yeah, no,
you
your
know our
dad, your
dad.
dad was real quiet. Yeah. I'd sit up in his office and we'd start
Yeah.
BSing about how afraid of the IRS. Bring him on,
Yeah.
bring him on. I got Brock now. He'll
That's
protect
right.
me. Brock's like delete my.
Dude, dad was not afraid.
No,
he
he
was
wasn't.
like
No,
he
he
would
wasn't.
take you to the edge,
Oh,
but he
yeah.
would know exactly where that line was,
Yeah.
man.
Your
Yeah.
dad was the best. I just email him stuff, and he's like, "All right, come on in and sign it on the 15th." And he knew that I would pay like the village in cash.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go. Like, he's like, you can just drop it off. You live right there. I'm like, nope. 2 o'clock is when the mail goes out on the 15th. It's getting right there, and they'll get it in cash. I don't care. He's like, don't you want a receipt? I'm like, nope, nope. Dollar bills. They're getting dollar bills.
Oh, I love it.
That's good.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah,
This is
no,
awesome.
Thank you.
We'll have you back.
Yeah.
It'll be a great time.